welcome to this week's session of our Masks of Nyarlathotep game here at Immortals. Again, we're using the Trail of Cthulhu system. And we got one player running a few minutes late, but until he gets here, I'm John, and let me go ahead and have everybody introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about your character. You want to start, Rich?
We're just going to kill this character off today.
Obviously,
because he's not here. My name is Richard McGuire, and I play a hobo named Samus.
My name is Tom Allman. I play a character named Mustafa Ali, and he is a antiquarian / college professor.
Brock, who's missing and will hopefully be here soon, is playing Alexander, who is a university librarian.
I'm Nate. I'm playing Father Cecil Sullivan, a Jesuit priest.
I'm Hugh Delury. I'm playing Declan Steele, a private investigator.
I'm Laura Shanks. I am playing an alienist, which is really just a psychologist or doctor or psychologist, whatever.
All right. And if I can get a die roll from everybody, start us off, please.
The big die?
Whichever one you want to use.
Please don't let me
Three.
One.
5. Oh, thank God. I'm so terrified to do
3.
this.
I had 3.
We got to re-roll.
Oh, roll off the ones.
Brock has a 0.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah,
if
but
he's
he
here,
can't.
yeah.
It's
It's going to be a real boring
that means he
recap.
has to do the
a
next
1
one.
to 1. All right.
All
That
right.
means he has to do the next one.
Tell us
though.
what happened last time, Nate, in brief.
In brief,
And to the extent it can be brief.
we
We had a massive info dump.
we did. There was a large amount of information put out. Gist of it: we went to New York. We found our good friend Jackson Elias, unfortunately brutally murdered by some cultists, who we immediately got some revenge on. We started to piece together some of his notes. It seems he was onto, I guess, what he considered a grand conspiracy. It's like all over the world or something, according to his notes. It involves the Carlyle Expedition, which was a expedition originally to Egypt, headed up by a socialite from New York and a Egyptologist from England. After they were in Egypt very briefly,
Could be evidence.
they went to North Africa to go on a photo safari, where, according to reports, they were brutally murdered by local tribesmen. Let's see here. We started to follow up on some of the leads that Jackson Elias gave us, and at the moment,
And by gave, you mean that you found in his room.
posthumously, yes, gave us. I'm sure he would have divulged it if he was not dead. At the moment, though, our biggest leads that we're going into is a interview with a reporter from the New York Times, a man who was recently on death row for, or he is accused for, I believe it's 6 slayings that are
8.
8 slayings that are
Close, yeah.
8 slayings that
Yeah.
are identical to the way Jackson was murdered, and there's one more clue missing here. Guys, help me out.
Well,
The
there's
reading of the
also-
will.
The reading of the will. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Plus the 3
Happening
locations
Monday
we
the
could
19th
possibly
at
go.
3 p.m.
Right, and most of the clues lead to 3 places: either Australia, Africa, or
Shanghai.
Shanghai,
Hong Kong, actually.
or Hong Kong, or Shanghai. One
Well,
of the 2.
no.
Somewhere in Asia.
I thought the picture was from Shanghai. You're thinking that it was
Yeah, we're not sure where that picture is.
misinformation?
That was just a guess that it was Shanghai, but after hearing from some other evidence that we've uncovered, that possibly there was a survivor of the Carlyle Expedition
Who should have been dead.
who should have been dead, was found in Hong Kong. So that picture may have been of Hong Kong, not of Shanghai. So
Jack Brady.
Brady.
that's it. Jack Brady was found alive.
If you want a full recap, you can watch our video.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But just to get everybody in the right headspace, it might be worth just touching on some of the clues that you guys had found previously and some of the things
So
you found out.
here's everything from New York. That we
Right.
found.
So we got the
Let's start from
telegram.
the top.
Yeah, we'll just
All
go
right.
through it quickly. We got the
got-
telegram.
Telegram that led us to New York. We got, I'm not sure what this is.
That's
Actually,
the
What is
cover
that? Cool.
of
The book.
one of Jackson's books.
yes, The Hungry Dead by
Mhm.
Jackson Ellias. Amazing Travels in Darkest Peru. This was the story of our adventure and did not explain anything that actually happened. We found a letter here that was actually we don't know how Jackson Ellias received this letter, but it was written to Mr. Carlyle from Cairo, Egypt, which may have spearheaded his expedition there in the first place in 1919.
Can I see that letter, please?
Mm-hmm. And I think that Carlyle House Mansion is in New York.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yes.
We found this in the hotel room, a pamphlet for a lecture by Professor Anthony Cowles, PhD from the University of Sydney, who we later phone called, and he explained to us all about some weird
Bat Cult,
bat cult.
which was based in Australia.
That's right. That was our lead to.
With an awesome audio handout.
Yes. And another letter from Prospero House, which is the Jackson Ellias's publisher.
Is that that one, or is that the one from Harvard Library?
That's
Sorry, this is
Harvard.
from Harvard, right? About a book that
Yeah.
Jackson was looking for that they did not have,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that Margaret and Margaret and
Alexander.
Stewart, yeah.
went
Stewart
to
or whatever.
Harvard to see if they can uncover anything, and I think they came up dry.
Right.
Largely. They did find out that the book just
Disappeared
vanished from
in
the shelf.
brimstone, and there was the smell of brimstone.
Yes. We have the mad scribblings of an Elias, of Jackson Elias, while he was in London before he made it to New York, which was nearly incoherent. But it has a pretty cool diagram, of which the diagram
Totally forgot.
sort of has this image on it.
Sorry, I'm late.
No problem, bro.
It's okay. You're doing a recap.
We're
tomorrow.
doing a recap.
For the next time, you're doing it though, officially because you're late.
Good, I don't want to do this recap.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's the only one I don't ever
Right,
want
that was
to
the
do.
whole reason why you showed up late anyway. 'Cause
right.
You didn't want to get that one.
Didn't want to be that guy doing this one.
So out of the nonsensical ramblings of a clearly disturbed Jackson, has some pictures of some symbols that are unfamiliar to us just yet, except for one, which looks like that, something that may have been carved in his head when we talked about how his brutal murder. We have another letter to Jonah, which is the
Publisher.
publisher,
That's right.
about how he has a lead, and it's gonna be the greatest thing ever.
That's right. He was a mourner at the cemetery on January 6th.
I don't remember this one.
Yes.
Yeah, I never saw that one either.
That's his notes.
That's a summary of all the notes that Jackson had taken.
Yeah, that was given to us by
That was
Jonah.
one I read aloud last time.
Okay.
Yeah, Jonah gave us that. And
When you were at-
when we were at his
At
office.
That's
yeah,
right.
right after the funeral.
Right. We were sent a photograph, probably from the some expedition of some kind in Australia.
Yeah, that was part of Professor Call's lecture.
Right. A lot of newspaper clippings of the Carlyle Expedition, the kind of person that Carlyle was, and all the events that led up to their group's murder.
Well, didn't we find out at the end, though, that they may not be dead?
Yes.
One
You are
may not
one.
have been dead.
Was it just one, or was it more than one?
Mr.
It was
Jack
all of
Brady.
Jack Brady,
Okay.
we were
What's that?
unsure.
They never found any of the bodies.
Right.
I never found any of the bodies. So
That's
they,
right.
they could all be alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they found bodies,
Just
but
not.
Not
Maybe
their
not
bodies.
theirs. Yeah, unrecognizable.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah, we found another photograph of what we believe to either be Shanghai or Hong Kong. We're really unsure. More newspaper, and what other clues we were given? Penview Foundation, which is the foundation that was Carlyle went to get an Egyptologist.
And yeah, so that guy went with him too, correct?
Sir Aubrey
Yes.
Penhew from the
Yeah.
Penhew Foundation. Yep.
Emerson's Imports, I believe Mustafa's character went there to meet with the proprietor of the Emerson Imports to discuss
Nerd stuff.
artifacts and other
Nerd stuff.
antiquarian things.
Antiquity nerd stuff.
But we were given another clue because on the back of the card is a person's name, Silas Nakwana.
Which, if I remember right, you didn't like, correct?
We don't.
That's right.
No, that was a French
Oh
guy
no, that was a different guy.
who happens to
Okay.
be mentioned in the letter
Okay.
in 1919.
I have
This
no
guy we don't know
information
anything
on-
about.
I was like, I have no
You do
information on this
know
guy.
a little bit.
Oh, right, he has a shop in Harlem
Right.
not have that
called
there.
like the Juju House or
That
something
is
like
exactly it. Juju House.
I do
Right.
not have any of that written down.
I do. I'm
And,
gonna go there at.
Bunch of, and again,
And
just
buy a sword
really
cane.
awesome newspaper clippings, actually printed on newspaper
Yeah, those
paper.
are cool.
Yeah, very amazing. And that's pretty much the summary of all of the clues that we were given.
Yeah, I think that covered everything we got through. So, like I said, I just wanted to mention, to recap that, because it could be really easy to let some of that
Yeah.
slide by the wayside. And it's all of it might have relevance in the game sessions to come.
Or it's all red herrings.
That is possible as well.
And we just need to go to Boston and that solves everything.
All right, was there anything you guys wanted to discuss, either in or out of character, before we delve further into this?
So where are we right now?
Yeah, that's what I would ask too.
What-
Is it
what's the
Monday?
your house, right?
It's
I-
Saturday
Well, yeah,
night.
we
We have all
were.
Sunday.
Yeah, we kind of hung out
And
at
then
my
Monday
place,
is the will reading, right?
Right,
That's
Monday
right, so
the
it's
19th.
Sunday at 6 a.m. I'm going to
Which is
to the
tomorrow.
New York
Oh, that's
Times,
right.
right?
We were going
So
to
tomorrow
that.
at early in the morning we had the New York
Then-
Times, and then later in the afternoon you had a meeting in Sing Sing to meet the.
That was going to be. Oh yeah.
Was that after?
was
I thought
Sunday.
that was
No,
not
that was
after the
Sunday.
reading?
That was
Okay.
Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Because they both took place in the same day, tomorrow.
Well, at least
Right.
my character, it's going to be New York Times, church,
Right.
and then
And then Monday is the will reading, so
Mhm.
we're at least hanging around Red Hook for the next 2 days.
Is that where we are? Sweet.
We have, let's see, some immediate clues or leads is the place in Harlem. And of course, we need to deal with the immediate interview and
we kind of ended it with after the funeral and all of us kind of having sneaking a few drinks.
Yeah.
after the
You're
meeting,
not drunk.
after
Red
being
Hook.
at the
That's kind of what we
house.
ended it.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't know if there was anything you guys wanted to review or discuss before we proceeded to the meeting at the New York Times. If there's not, that's totally cool, but I didn't know if there was anything.
You mean get our story straight?
I wanted to give you an opportunity,
Yeah.
yes.
My
Is-
story is always crooked.
Excellent. At least you're consistent.
Is the Juju House open on Sunday?
Do you want to go head down there and check it out?
1995, I doubt it.
On Saturday?
Yeah, on Sunday.
No, it's still Saturday though.
No, it's
He said
late
Sunday, though.
Saturday. Right now it's late. Like where we
midnight,
ended,
I
one
gotcha.
it was
o'clock.
very late.
So
Yeah, it's probably
Saturday.
closed and then closed. But who knows? I mean, you antiquarians are weird, so.
Right.
Are you still got a big bandage on your arm from the machete, right?
Yeah, I went to the
Alright.
hospital while
That's
you
right,
guys were
yes.
running around during the afternoon.
I did my best to manage him.
Can I
Didn't use his
call
arm, so
the
Good.
Juju House on Saturday evening and see if they're open,
You can.
or make a private appointment?
You
Oh,
can
that's a good
call.
idea.
No one answers the phone, but you can call
I will leave a message.
There's no
with
with
Yeah,
our
the
messaging
answering
service.
With a cell phone, that's with what?
Just text them. It's cool.
Just text, yeah.
I'm
It's
gonna.
like watching Drunk History.
I think now. I'm not ancient, but I mean, could you like? Didn't they used to like leave a wake up call with the phone operator? Is there possible that I can like have the operator call back, or? I got a better idea. I'm gonna send a
Do
telegram.
you?
All right.
I'll just go down to the the front desk at where we're staying, and I'll send a telegram.
You could send a letter.
I don't think a letter would get there fast. A telegram is.
You're
a
talking about
quarter.
mail within the city.
But not on
Well-
Sunday, probably.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
There won't be delivery on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Telegram could, or you could send a courier.
It was
Street urchin.
gonna
Yeah.
cost a bit, but yes,
It's gonna cost. It's gonna cost a 2 bits. Probably.
Sorry.
All right. You want to send a telegram?
Yeah, to what's his name?
Silas Kwane.
Yeah, Silas. I get it. John Air.
At Juju House. And what is the message you want to send?
In town. In town for import-export business, would like to set a private appointment at your shop. I've heard interesting
Remember, you're
things.
paying by the letter.
Uh,
So,
It's like 3 of
got
Free
money. Want to buy stuff.
in town for business, stop.
How about that?
Yeah.
In town for business, stop.
Seek appointment on
Does your
Sunday.
church on Sunday?
Seek
He does.
So
Sunday
yeah, I'll go
appointment.
with you.
Okay.
Just whatever
Stop.
church you go to.
Mustafa Ali, whatever hotel.
No, we're staying at his place.
No,
Okay.
It's going to be the afternoon.
you can stay at his place.
I will.
All right.
Mustafa Ali address.
At Red
Yeah,
Hook.
we'll just say Mustafa
Comfort
Ali
Inn.
address. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Okay. So you do that. Is there anything else you guys want to take care of Saturday evening?
Get a good meal, go to bed. In the
All
morning,
right.
I'm going to mass with the father, or whatever he does.
Yeah, you're probably going to go to like a.
Afternoon one.
There's it's the 20s. There's no noon mass.
Oh, geez, that's right.
You've got the mass at dawn, and then you've got the printer's mass, which happens at around 2:30. Those are basically your options.
Whatever can get me to the New York Times by 6 a.m.
So you're going to go to the printer's mass.
Yes.
I'll do that. I'll follow the father.
What's a good Irish place to? Probably St. Patrick's.
I'm sure there's a St. Patrick's in New York. There's unquestionably somewhere there has to be a St. Patrick's.
Or 5.
Though the Jesuits also do have a house in
Oh, like
New
Retreat
York
House?
City. It's much bigger than that, but
Mm.
so you probably would end up going there, and someone would say mass. Possibly you might even say the mass. And as a
Yeah.
guest, you would certainly be able to join in. So then, 6 o'clock, you're going to head to the Times. Is everyone going, or are just some of you going?
I'm not going. I mean, Margaret's not going.
You were you interacted with a reporter at the
Funeral.
funeral. That's how.
She wanted to speak to us, actually.
She did.
I think I want to go.
Yeah, I'll go.
If we're staying together.
I don't want to go, but I'll go.
You want to come, Margaret?
All right. So everyone but
She's-
Margaret
she's
decides to come.
to put
Now,
like a
the New York
2 hours
Times
to put her
in
face on.
25 is not located at Times Square. It recently relocated to West 43rd Street, 229 West 43rd Street. And that is a fairly major building, and the press never sleeps, so there are journalists coming in and out of the building at all hours.
Sabbath, for shame.
As soon as you go at the front desk, you're directed towards the Metro Beat, and from there directed, as soon as you say that you're coming from Elias's funeral, you're directed towards Schoenberg's desk. She's got some donuts set up and a pot of coffee waiting for you.
Sweet.
As you come in, it says, we're set up in conference room 3 over here. Is that all right? If you just want to step in with me?
Do we take the train from Red Hook? Is this where we go?
Almost certainly, yeah.
Oh, by the way, did the points we spent last time come back?
No,
No. Okay.
good question.
I'm still missing points from Peru. I don't know if they came back or not.
Peru points absolutely came
Sanity
back. Yes.
points too?
Sanity, no.
Okay,
Stability,
so-
yes. Stability and health, yes.
Then I'm okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm not okay since I've already lost all points.
Yeah, sanity recovery takes extraordinary means.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so she offers you all an opportunity to sit down, and she's got some clippings laid out on the table in front of her with reports, with her articles about the 8 previous murders, all the ones that Adams was accused of having performed. They're all laid out on the table, and she's got the detailed press report, the detailed coroner's reports with photos of several of the bodies as well.
They all look the same, I take it.
Pretty much all the same. They all have that exact same symbol carved into their foreheads. The exact details of the murder vary slightly. Not all of them have their throats slit, but they were all they all clearly died of stabbing.
And the accused name again?
The accused,
Was Ben something?
I thought it was Hilton.
Adams.
Yeah, Adams is the last name.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Hilton Adams.
Hilton
Adams.
No Ben.
Must have been another mystery I was working on.
Certainly could be.
Are all the victims African American?
No, they aren't. And in fact, they weren't all found in Harlem. The first 2 bodies were found in different police precincts. And so I don't think there was very much coordination in those early investigations. I think the different investigating detectives didn't initially realize that this could be a serial killing. It was only after 4 murders that everything was transferred over to Captain Robson in the 14th precinct. That's the Harlem precinct. But even then, there wasn't a whole lot of progress until Hilton Adams was arrested. And I think Robson ended up heading things just based on the fact that most of those later corpses turned up in the Harlem area. I'm not sure what kind of pull he had to exercise to get involved. It may be just that Dr. Lemming's information saying this was an African death cult behind it could have been the key thing to giving the Harlem tie.
What's that? Lemmings is that anthropologist from somewhere, right?
Yes, Dr. Lemmings is a well-known anthropologist. He's the one that looked at the mark and was able to identify it as belonging to an African death cult. Dr. Lemming is staying in a hotel in town currently.
We should talk to Dr. Lemming.
I think you already did.
Did we?
Yeah.
What did he say about the death cult? Do you guys
He's the
remember?
Australian chap.
No, that was
No.
Cowles. I thought you contacted Lemming right after Lieutenant Poole mentioned his name.
I don't remember
Lieutenant
that.
Poole was the one who, possibly you didn't, but I thought you guys went and spoke with him.
I
Most
actually
of the others I
rewatched
have-
the live stream twice.
Okay.
Once
That was smart.
I listened to it once because I'm doing the journal for
Yeah.
Mustafa, but the second time I kind of fell asleep.
Just like, I mean, I could listen to it like a podcast. I didn't
That's
think
what
of
I
that.
was.
I could
That's
just
what I
listen
was
to
doing.
Yeah.
All
My
right.
work is that damn boring.
I mean, I have some notes here from, and it says African death cult, 14th
Mhm.
precinct, Captain
Robson, R-O-B-S-O-N.
Yeah.
I do have Mordecai Lemons,
Lemming, L-E-M-M-I-N-G.
and then dash African Death Cult. That's all.
Yeah, that's all I have for now.
But we got that information from the detective. We haven't talked.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't talked to Dr.
I,
Lemming yet.
I felt like you did, but I could be wrong.
No, you're the keeper. If you say that we didn't, then we didn't. I
Well,
don't
we
have any- I
called
don't
the
have any
one
notes.
guy and he played the audio.
That was Cowles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know where he's staying
That was cool.
by chance?
Cal's is at Miskatonic.
Yeah, he's staying at Murray Hill Hotel. That's East 40th and Park Avenue.
Oh, Lemmings.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I thought he
what
was.
is it you wanted to ask us?
Cal's is in Miskatonic.
I was
Lemmings
hoping
is here in town.
Which one?
That
did
you could
call
tell me
him?
more about
Cal's
Elias's
is what we
death,
call the Australian.
and if
Right.
it matches
Oh,
up with
that's
these
right.
others. If it was in fact, I think it's clear evidence that Hilton wasn't behind the murders, since he's currently in prison. He couldn't possibly have performed this one.
I mean, is it possible that he was a part of the group that did murder?
I'm sure he wasn't.
I think
Why?
he was probably investigating it, and that's why he was at all the scenes.
So what kind of person was Adams then? What did he
Hilton
do?
Adams was a World War.
Is. He's still alive.
Oh yeah.
He's a World War I veteran. He was a member of the Harlem Hellfighters. He's a very good man, and he was interested in making sure that Harlem was safe for the people who lived there, and that they could provide their own security. Between the gang activity and the police, who have no interest in preserving Negro lives, he simply wanted to make sure that they were taking care of themselves. He'd been curious about. I've spoken with his wife extensively, Millie, and she's told me that, as well as what I've heard from Hilton himself, that they were devoted to trying to clean up the Harlem area, and he was very interested in putting an end to these murders.
Why do you think the police targeted him as the suspect?
I think Robeson was looking for a fall guy, and I think Robeson's corrupt as can be.
What makes
Either
you
that
think
or he's completely incompetent.
What makes you think that?
Because I'm confident that Adams wasn't the one who did it, nothing else. And Robeson wasn't even willing to listen to any possible alternative ideas.
Sounds a lot like Dublin.
Who do you think is responsible for these murders?
I don't know. I think perhaps your best bet would be to talk to Millie about it.
Do you know anything about the 8 other victims?
She's got the articles right in front of you about them.
Are there
Yeah.
any similarities between them?
No, there aren't. Most of them, 5 of them were black, but 3 of them were not. The murders did not all take place in Harlem. It seems, from what you're looking at, that these were crimes of opportunity.
Can we?
Like occupationally wise, like this guy's a mechanic, this guy's a
Yes.
milkman, this
Random.
guy's.
Did they
Okay.
plot out where they happened on a map anywhere?
She's got a map of Manhattan that you can annotate on it, but they're kind of all spread out around. Several are in Harlem, and the others are in neighboring boroughs.
But it's not like a simple methods.
No, there's
I've
a
seen
nice little
Classic,
star
right,
that
put
you
it all
can-
together
yeah.
and then
It's that
There's a
symbol.
spiral.
that
Yeah.
exact thing that you go in the center.
And it
because
leads
you know
right
it's
to
where
the center of it is Jackson's hotel.
We're
No.
looking for my Scooby Doo
Classic.
investigation.
Good question, though. So.
Did you buy that as a skill?
Cthulhu 90s. Scooby Doo investigation skills.
But do you have any? I mean, we don't live in New York City. But do you have any theories, even if it's crazy, about who could be responsible for that?
Well, Dr. Lemming said a death cult. And Hilton seemed concerned that there might in fact be one, and if there were, that it needed to be put to bed. If there is in fact a death cult, that'd be my first guess. Tell me about what you found at the murder site.
Does she have pictures of the other victims?
Mm-hmm.
Do they look like Jackson?
Well, the carving in their foreheads is exactly the same, yes.
I'm sure you know this already. Our friend Jackson was doing research on death cults.
Yes, I'm familiar with
And
his writing.
perhaps he interviewed one person too many, or one of the wrong people, or he was getting too close so they bumped him off.
I'd find that very believable.
We need to know what he was doing in London before he came back to New York.
He also said that there were tons. There was like a conspiracy,
Yeah.
and that there were people that were involved in like all manners of. Like he was paranoid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you look at his notes,
Oh, we
his London was just like he didn't even want to go to London. London was just a stop on
Yeah,
his
that's
way
right.
back to New York.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I would not describe him as being paranoid.
No.
Did you read that,
How would you describe that?
that last letter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
last
That wasn't him.
that last letter is more along the lines of someone very frightened. If you've ever read some of the boys from the front, their notes home before they went over the top, when they knew it, that's what it sounds like.
I would ask our psychologist friend, but she's still sleeping.
No, she's not. I can promise you she's reading a book.
Oh,
You know what book it is.
Indeed, I do.
50 Shades.
50 Shades of Cthulhu Mythos, right?
It's possible that he knew that someone was on his trail. I would describe him as being paranoid. Plus, he's you know, we've been under fire with him before, so.
Yeah.
Adam's execution is coming up. If you can find out anything to clear his name, or even cast doubt on Robeson's integrity, that could be all we need to delay the execution, or possibly even lead to a retrial.
Have you investigated Robeson at all?
I tried. His precinct, there are a lot of people there very loyal to him.
There's a lot of money to be made if you keep your mouth shut and your eyes forward.
Coulson would
A
be a
fair
critic.
assessment, Father.
Coulson would be a critic of Robson.
Who
Who is Lieutenant Poole?
Who is he?
Mm-hmm.
He was the first to show at the hotel where Jackson was found.
Ah. I'll have to make sure I have a chat with him then.
do you have a is there another reporter who may be who they call when weird things happen?
How weird.
Like unexplained people with headdresses jumping out of hotel windows, that kind of thing.
Sounds like a death call, Professor.
Yeah, that's what happened when we found Jackson.
Why don't
Cultists.
you just get rid of the photo of him? We have a photograph of his.
Oh, that's
Isn't that where we got?
We can pretty much confirm her suspicion. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Oops. I think she's on our side.
Would you be willing to meet with Millie then?
Hi. I'm actually going to be going to Sing Sing to meet with her husband soon.
No,
How soon?
not Robson.
No. To meet with the accused.
Perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Millie Adams is
His
Hilton's wife.
Yeah. Okay.
I could set up a meeting with her. Probably be a good idea for you to meet with her before you went and met with him.
Well then.
How soon are you meeting with Hilton?
I forget which time though.
3 o'clock.
3 p.m.
I don't know if I can get something scheduled that fast. Could you delay your trip to Sing Sing?
Why would we want to speak to her before him?
She's been keeping an eye on things in Harlem. She's well informed.
How many of these murders happened after he was arrested?
Your friend was the first.
That's interesting.
Sure. Let's talk to Millie then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where can I get a hold of you?
I'll give her my phone number.
I'll get in touch with her and give you a call as soon as I have anything. If you hear anything further, just call the Times. Here's my extension. If I'm not, don't answer. Just leave a message with the operator.
Is there anything in the? I'm gonna look at.
Look, this story can make my career. I'll be blunt. If you can find anything of value, please. I appreciate the assistance. But if that means I need to do something to help you to make the story happen, let me know what I need to do.
What was her name again?
Rebecca Schausenberg.
Yeah.
Schnazenberg.
Schossenburg.
Schausenberg.
Oh, damn, so close.
Smorgasbord.
There you go.
The what did Millie tell you is going on?
Millie's been keeping an eye on a lot of things happening. She thinks I'd really rather you heard it from her, but she thinks there's a death cult based around this place in Harlem called Juju House. But you want to talk to her. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have.
It's not the first time we've
I'm
heard
kind
of
of glad you didn't just show up there. Hey, Death Cult, what's happening, guys? I have some questions about Death Cults.
How did you hear about it? Is it because you're an importer?
Yes.
I see.
Um,
Do you know anything about the owners then?
I do not. Do you? Actually, I sent them a telegram. I would like to meet a private appointment. I have an interest in ancient artifacts.
Well, then I'm sure they'll be in touch with you. I'd be a little concerned about having a death cult get in touch with me normally, but I'm sure you can handle yourself.
Yes. It's not my first death cult.
It's my
I'm
first
glad to
death
hear it.
cult. It's my first Death Cult.
Clearly, you've worked closely with Jackson before.
A couple times, yes.
So then I guess I'll just go back, finally go to Mass, wait till we can get in touch with Millie.
Aye, it's a good idea.
Okay.
There is actually a St. Patrick's.
Well, you talk to Millie. I'm going to go talk to Vanelli.
You're gonna lip sync it?
Yeah. One's just going to be talking, the other one's just going to be slapping the lips.
All right. So, is there anything else you guys wanted to take care of on Sunday? You do not get a response to your telegram by Sunday, by the time you get back to the hotel Sunday afternoon.
Don't call us.
Late
We'll call
Sunday
you.
morning.
Kind of
Is
want
that their policy?
to reach out to
Actually-
Poole again, Lieutenant Poole.
Yeah, you
Actually,
absolutely can.
Can we talk to Dr. Lemming?
You absolutely
today?
can.
Sunday?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that? Because Dr. Lemming was into the African Death Cults too.
Yeah, we should do that.
We can always split the party.
There's also the sister of the Carlyle guy.
There is.
There's lots
Erica.
of choices.
Yeah. Let's focus on what we can get done.
All right. Well, where do you want to start?
I'll go talk to Dr. Lemming. Do I know anything about him?
Are you going by yourself, or is anyone coming with you?
Anybody who wants to come with me?
Yeah, let's go talk to Dr. Lemming.
Wait, who's Dr. Lemming?
Dr. Lemming was the person that Poole said identified the carving that was in Elias's forehead.
I wanna go to that.
Yeah, we'll meet up with everybody and we'll.
Yeah, I mean, by the time that we're done talking to the reporter, it's what, 7:30 in the morning?
7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah.
So, like, probably then I'd go back to my apartment
Well,
and go from
well, call the hotel, the Murray Hill Hotel, and ask for his room and see if maybe he'll have lunch.
there. Yeah.
All right.
Set up an appointment.
No, this is Dr. Lemming.
Dr. Lemming, my name is Dr. Ali from Miskatonic University.
Oh, fine school. What can I do for you, Doctor?
I will be 100% honest with you.
I appreciate your frankness.
One of our friends was killed by what we think may have been a death cult. You probably read about it in the paper. They
Is this
noted.
Jackson Elias?
Yes.
I've heard of his writings, yes. It's tragic.
It is tragic. We are looking into it, and I know that several people have mentioned that you actually out of character. Wasn't that in one of the newspaper reports?
I think
His
it may have
name?
been, yes, as well.
And
that
we
was in
were-
the newspaper report of Jackson's death.
We were wondering if you could shed a little bit more specific light on the cults.
Well,
And I'd be willing to buy you lunch.
well, I'd certainly appreciate lunch, and that's a very generous offer, but I am not an expert on African culture. I just happen to recognize the symbol based on some things I'd read. The person you really want to talk to is a Mr. Silas Nakwane, proprietor of Juju House.
Ah, yes.
It's in Harlem. He's really the regional expert on African death cults.
Can you spell the last name, please?
Nakwane is N''K''WANE. He often sends me trinkets and fetishes that he's imported from different African regions, and mostly because he knows they're of interest to me. But again, I am not the expert that he is. He seems to know quite a bit more about these sorts of things than I do. I know that it's a symbol that's associated with a cult, but I very much doubt there's a death cult from Africa active in New York City, after all. Surely it's just some sort of copycat.
I'm sure.
What kind of doctor is Dr. Lemmy?
He's an
Anthropologist. I certainly will give him a visit. Do you know how we can reach him?
I'm not positive of his hours, but your best bet is to stop in. It's in Harlem. Let me see if I have the address here. He spends a few moments, and you hear some shuffling papers in the background, much like these shuffling papers.
It's surrealistic.
It is. It's
like
very
I'm there.
authentic.
It's interesting that he is also interested in the educational and the research that you're doing, Mr. Nkwame.
I'm not sure why the interest. It may just be that he knows he's got an easy buyer with me. When he sends me things, I often acquire them. Here it is. It's at 1 Ransom Court, right off of West 137th Street in Harlem, east of Lenox. It's kind of hidden from the road.
Well, Doctor, it was very nice talking to you.
I had a pleasure talking to you as well, Professor.
Have a good afternoon.
And you as well.
Thank you.
Would you next, the sister or Millie?
It's up to you guys. I'm more interested in the Carlyle Expedition, going from like chronological order, at the beginning of the storyline. That's my perspective. But, no matter how we approach this, there's no right way to do it. If we do it in chronological order, we're going to miss something. If we just do it reactionary and whatever the current emergency is, we're going to miss something.
So you think that the Carlyle Expedition and what happened?
I think the Carlyle is the beginning of the story. It's 1919. That's the first clue we have, the oldest clue, however you want to look at it.
Margaret,
Yeah.
you have medicine, don't you?
Sure do.
It occurs to you that Dr. Houston was a practicing psychologist, psychotherapist. When he disappeared, his notes would have gone somewhere.
Dun dun dun.
Dr. Houston, he was one of the victims.
Dr. Houston was one of the members of the Carlyle Expedition.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Unless they didn't recover him.
Well, he was a practicing physician, so his patient records.
His patient records, yes. I
And you
get
know
this.
that the New York City Medical Affairs
Oh,
Bureau
right.
would have to have handled that.
Did he treat Mr. Carlyle? So was he like his personal physician?
He was, in fact, Roger Carlyle's. Yes.
Probably a full-time job.
Could be.
So what's everyone doing right now?
Let's go talk to
I'm
Millie.
currently at Mass.
Good. I'm not going there. I'm going to go to the New York City Affairs Commission.
So we'll be
The Medical Affairs
other
Bureau?
A
Mass too.
medical affairs bureau.
Well, you're able to provide your
Right, my credentials.
credentials, and
Double check because you're a woman.
you obtain that.
Ooh.
It's Sunday. We're closed.
Evidence.
It's a hospital.
While
room.
the board would be closed, there would be a security guard who would check credentials
Sweet.
and
I
be
don't
able
want to
to.
even cut this
I
here
know,
before I feel
right?
bad.
Why would they do that to us?
Do you want a knife?
No, I feel bad. I'm trying to slide
It's
it
like-
out.
I don't think it'll
there-
slide.
Damn, I really have to cut this.
You do.
Yeah,
It's part of the
thanks.
experience.
I love it.
I want to preserve it though. It's like,
Okay. I'm so haptic. Jesus Christ. Thanks.
Take 1 health point damage.
What's afterwards? Since I will call after Mass, I will call the warden back and say that I will not be able to visit with Mr.
Mr. Adams.
Adams until Monday, if possible.
All right. They're happy to reschedule.
All right.
He's not going anywhere. Well, at least till for a couple
Not
more
till he
days.
visits Sparky.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see the Carlyles too, and I think we have a little bit of ammunition to sort of get our way in, because we heard that they maybe not have died, and I think the sister may be genuinely interested.
Where did we hear that Jack Brady was sighted in Hong Kong?
I think in the ramblings of
Oh, that's right.
Of Elias.
Yeah, the
Declan, what is your credit rating?
3?
All right. You want to spend a point of credit rating?
Yeah, sure.
Does that mean you're getting poor?
Always.
You recall with that credit rating spend that a Bradley Gray, who is a partner at the law firm of Dustin Whittleby and Gray, is Erica Carlyle's legal representative. And you're pretty sure that if you want to have a meeting with Erica Carlyle, he'd be the person to schedule it through. He's not somebody you're going to be able to get to do business on a Sunday without a rather liberal application of funds.
Yeah, right. Which I probably do not have a credit rating of 3.
Not liberal enough to get him out of bed on a Sunday, or more likely off the golf course on a Sunday.
Right.
Though, well, it's
It's
January.
January,
Yeah,
I'm
he's
about to
probably not
say.
on the links. Yeah.
He's really dedicated.
As you guys have been going around through town, by the way, the weather is absolutely dreadful still. It's with the wind
Can we
chill,
go to
it's
Africa,
well below
please?
0.
Let's go to Nairobi.
Let's ring Millie. You guys want to get back together now after Mass and everything else? Let's talk to Millie and see what she has to say.
Well, you don't have contact information from Millie. Rebecca was going to get in touch with Millie and schedule something.
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna-
let's call Rebecca then.
I'm going to try something a little off there. I want to talk around with some of the Jesuit priests that are at the retreat area for the Mass or whatever. Ask if there's any particular priest that might be talking out about police corruption at this time. Maybe I can work with these guys to see what they have on Poole and how dirty he could possibly be.
Poole or Robeson?
Either or
Robeson is
Robeson is really
yeah. Poole's the good one.
Well, he's not Irish.
doesn't matter. I mean, priests normally are community centers of some kind or another. This is prohibition, so they did speak out against, especially in New York.
Who's
all the
in
violence
Har-
that prohibition brought about. I'm not saying. I'm just like I said. It's a shot in the dark, but it's
Yeah, no, it's not the worst idea. What's your streetwise?
no what now?
Streetwise skill? It's one of the interpersonal.
Interpersonal.
Need to get some more
Streetwise?
yoo-hoo.
Absolutely
Oh,
not.
you see, I have no light.
You're
I
not
love
able
the
to
shirt
track
matches.
down through that.
Space.
Product placement with the shirt.
I'm hoping to get a sponsorship.
I love it. I love it.
Like I said, shot in the dark.
Not an excellent idea, but none of them are familiar.
You failed. No, I'm just kidding. So then I
Well,
guess, yeah.
It looks like the rest of Sunday was going to be pretty much. We really don't have any needs to follow up on at the moment.
Yeah.
Now
but-
it's just going to be open.
You might want to have a chat with Margaret.
Yeah, where'd she go?
She was running downtown for something.
At the very least, we can get some good lunch.
Yeah.
I'll let Samus know, because I mean,
Let's
there's
go to
our
Delmonico's.
conversations, you know, that we probably need to schedule an appointment with Erica Carlyle's legal representative.
Can't just walk over to the mansion and bang on the gate.
I highly doubt that would be
You
appropriate.
could try it.
You should try it. We'll see what happens.
I'm a professional.
I doubt she
Gate
does. She live in
knocker.
New York proper, or does she live like upper Manhattan area with a private home?
I have my credit rating. I got a pretty solid one. I'm a 5.
So she does not live in Manhattan proper. She's further up. I believe it's Westchester. Does that sound right?
Okay.
I had to look on an actual larger scale New York map to find it. Yeah, Westchester. She has an estate in Westchester.
Okay.
So if you look here, it's right
It's-
around here.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
Washington Heights.
Yeah, no, so it's
It's-
Manhattan
and then
is a peninsula, right? And
Right.
it stretches up in New York State proper, and Westchester is along the Hudson, like right about, there.
yeah.
So it's around a 45-minute train ride to get to that area, coming
Oh,
from
I'm not going to go.
Manhattan.
That's
If-
an
I'm not just going to show up
appropriate
at some.
You pass
wealthy
Sing
person.
Sing prison on the way.
Alright. Well, I would.
Okay.
Are
Maybe
you
Monday.
going to overdose on chocolate?
I mean,
Like
I haven't in the last 50 years, so I don't think I'll be alright.
I have.
You built up a
It's called
tolerance, is what you're
diabetes.
saying?
Yes.
I guess we just sort of wait for Margaret to return.
Margaret, do you want to share anything on what you're reading? This is private me time.
I'm not even halfway through this though.
All right.
Should we go check out the Juju house? See what it is?
That's what I was thinking. Well, it's in Harlem,
Mm-hmm.
and so is Millie. So,
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to go over.
So let me-
make 2 trips.
point out that a trip into Harlem, everyone here except for you is going to stand out a lot. And even you're going to stand out quite a bit.
What a dick this doctor is.
Oh,
Well, the
pretty
weather's so
simple
bad, there's probably not a lot of
Yes,
people
and they'll
outside.
remember you. And that's also true. There are not a lot of people outside right now.
Right, we'll have to bundle up. I guess we're not going to be all that. We'll be less conspicuous, I think.
Sure.
It feels like a hot summer day or something.
Absolutely true.
Well, when we do go over to see Millie, we can do a drive-by.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's important that someone stick around my apartment because we're waiting for that phone call from Rebecca. So,
Sure.
whatever happens, I'll probably stick around the
Well,
apartment.
with most leads being dried up at the very moment, I'm thinking a nice lunch. And we're still morning friends, so maybe
Yeah.
a few drinks.
We need drinks in this town.
In my cupboard.
There's places.
So, late Sunday afternoon, you get a call from Rebecca that she can schedule a meeting with Millie tomorrow evening.
Okay.
around, actually late tomorrow afternoon, let's say 4 o'clock.
Okay. What time is the reading at tomorrow?
The reading is tomorrow morning, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Reading of the
That's not
will is Monday the 19th, and I think you guys agreed it to 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I won't swear to that.
Okay.
Sounds right.
It is now.
All right. I do have a map of Harlem for you.
Cool. Awesome. Nice.
Is there anything you guys want to take care of before we proceed to the reading of the will?
Am I allowed to take these notes? I'm
Oh,
giving
yeah.
away, right?
You can absolutely
oh,
take
shit.
those notes.
I'm sorry. I thought I had to read at the hospital.
No.
Or at the medical affairs bureau.
No. You're a doctor.
Yeah, right. I just didn't.
None
There's
of
no
it's
photocopy machines.
There
so
are
I
no
just didn't
photocopy
know.
machines. You're a doctor.
Thanks for these.
If you take them with you, you are expected to return them when you're
Okay.
through with them.
I'm kind of like a library book.
Essentially, I mean, you have credentials. You're expected. You're honor bound as a physician.
Okay.
So
Of course, since the subject of the notes is
Yes.
deceased,
allegedly.
allegedly.
I mean, honestly, I don't really care if this Carlyle dude's dead. Kind of sounds like he's, a rich jerk who likes to have his picture taken with
misunderstood. He's misunderstood. Attacked.
beautiful women and
Which I think was
The-
for show.
the
Yeah. They
the,
made that obvious.
Yeah. So
he likes to acquire trinkets from ancient civilizations with little regard to the cultural heritage and who.
I think that might have been true until whatever he found in Egypt that brought him to, Nairobi. I think maybe that's wasn't 100% accurate.
And now he's going to destroy the world.
Right. That could be true too, right? He's not dead because he's a part of the conspiracy.
Could be.
I don't think he found any African death cults in Egypt. I think he was trying to. He may have found when he talked to this guy. When he talked to crazy Mustafa Faraz Najjar.
The worst
Yep.
notes ever.
He may have sold him some evidence to the.
Yeah, and that's
Solomon's
certainly a
line.
lead that will take us if you decide to go to
I can
Egypt.
tell you
It's been a while since I've been
firsthand that I do know
You're back next month.
furries, and I would not trust him any farther than could throw his.
His
girth.
cheap trinkets.
Yes, he is a bad man.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we just sort of let the day happen. We meet up
All
with
right.
Margaret whenever she decides to return to the apartment, if she does.
If she does.
She's got quite a bit to read through, so.
Yes, she does.
Oh, I'll pack this up.
So where was the Juju
and
house?
come
in this
in
one?
at a reasonable time.
So the Juju house was, I believe, 143rd.
East of Lennox at One Ransom Court.
Right. So
Yeah,
Lennox.
that's not a inappropriate name.
Ransom.
I don't see Lennox on here. Did you see Lennox on here?
Yeah.
Oh, there's
should be
Lennox.
by
Is
Fifth.
right between Fifth and so Lennox is 6th Avenue essentially. 143rd. Oh, so Little Africa is right here. So 143rd east of Lennox would be right in this
Where
area.
that little S is?
Right in that general area. Yeah, that's
Okay.
a subway station though.
Gotcha.
Lovely part.
All right. Well, shall we proceed to the reading of the will, or did you guys want to discuss anything else Sunday night?
I mean, we'll relay whatever information we found out or didn't find out actually. It was a good mass.
I'll assume that
Good Reuben.
we could, whatever summary that Margaret wants to tell us from what she gives us on Sunday.
Sure. That's absolutely fair. So we'll proceed to the reading of the will then. So it takes place in Ramsey's office. Ramsey is Elias's lawyer, essentially. It's
I do
Carlton
wanna go to
Carlton
college.
Ramsey. His office is in Harlem, 124th Street and Lenox Avenue. It's
Convenient.
It's right where we're supposed to be, yeah.
not far.
Is it still snowing?
It is still snowing. It is still miserable out. The office is cramped, especially with 6 of you in there, in addition to Carlton and his legal secretary. But he appreciates you coming. You hear he's got the radiators, the steam's whistling through the radiators as you're sitting there. And he says, did you need it? Oh, here. He reaches opens up a desk drawer, sets out 8 glasses, and pours some bourbon into each of them. I have a feeling Jackson would appreciate this. Offers to toast each of you to his memory.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Praise Allah.
And I know we had a chance to visit at the funeral on Saturday, but was there anything else you wanted to go over before we proceed to the will?
Nothing I can think of.
I think Jackson was not in a normal mindset before he passed. He definitely feared for his life.
Did he personally reach out to you at all?
He did. He made some revisions to his will that he delivered to me, and he explicitly noted the 6 of you as the people to be present for the reading.
Did he reach out to you
When?
right when he got into town?
Right when he arrived in New York, shortly after he arrived in New York, a couple of days before his passing.
So will his mindset negate the validity of the will then?
I don't think so. And in fact, I have a recording from him. He pulls up an Edison recording and cues it up. Yes.
That way.
Greetings from beyond the grave. By now, I'm sure you've learned that what I've left you is a whole heap of trouble. I understand if you just want to walk away from the whole thing. Hell, I'm dead now, and I'm still wishing I could have walked away from it. But I couldn't do that. And I don't think you're going to either. You've been there for me in the past when I needed you. It's too late to save me, but I hope I can count on you one last time. I've been traveling all over the world, pulling at threads. Believe me, I'm on to something big. Carlton and Jonah can give you some of the details. They've got some of my papers and notes. But there's still so much to follow up on, so much that still needs to be done. I'm assuming I've been murdered, and I'm counting on you to bring my killers to justice. If I just got mowed down by Charlie Cardwell, consider me embarrassed and you off the hook. But I suspect it'll be something else. And it's not going to be easy to follow it out to the end. You don't need to finish my book. None of you can write worth a damn. I'm sorry for all this. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. Remember me. Your friend, Jackson Elias.
Here's the transcript for your reference.
He didn't really give us any information.
Yeah, there's nothing in there.
He said Jonah had some of the papers.
Yeah,
But we already got
those.
those.
Okay.
So Elias gave me full power of attorney to all of his funds, and he had a substantial amount set aside. I've been told to liquidate everything and has turned that into a fund specifically devoted to investigating the Carlyle Expedition. He charged the 6 of you to follow up on all of his leads regarding that expedition and bringing the truth to light. I can make disbursements from the fund to pay for any travel, accommodations, living expenses, legal bills in the event you accrue any, and any other equipment purchases that are strictly necessary for the sake of following up on his leads and coming to the truth of the matter about the expedition. I can also act as a point of contact. I'd request that you keep me in the loop on anything you uncover, so that in the event anything is to happen to you, I can assemble a team of people to continue following up on this matter.
Nice.
That's a good way to get the next group of characters in for
Yeah.
total party kill. I like it.
Yeah.
What about you, sir? What if somebody comes after you?
I'll just have to keep my head down.
Stay frosty, man.
Is there someone you'd like me to designate as another contact in the event that someone does come after me? Do you know a reliable person? Preferably another attorney.
There's my brother in Cleveland, but
Yeah, my
everybody doesn't know him.
Father, do you have contacts at the church that could handle it?
I do.
Would all of you be amenable to that?
Sure.
Father O'Toole.
I'll make that arrangement then.
I will give
Write
him
down his contact information here, please.
I will give him a card and I will write a name down on the back of that. This is my representative at my shop in Cairo. If something happens to me,
Very good.
you could contact them.
I do the same for Esther Blake or Esther Merriweather and Patrick Blake in Boston.
Okay.
Could you? I'll send a letter back to the Miskatonic saying I'm going to take a sabbatical. I mean, I've got 10 years, so I can do pretty much
Sure.
whatever. So I'll do that to follow up on this. I'll have him mail that out for me.
I think we might need a little more bourbon.
Do you have any of his papers? Any of his research? Anything like that?
Everything that was... He said he was leaving all of his notes with Jonah Kensington at Prospero House. Have you been in touch with him?
Yeah.
Yes.
To be upfront, this is a substantial amount of money available. It's $50,000.
Where the hell did he get that kind of money?
I don't know. He said something about Peru.
Interesting.
So I didn't get that.
Okay. So, what else does he say as well?
In the event that any of you do not wish to pursue the investigation, this is your opportunity to back out. There's no shame in it at this point. Though, of course, if things become scary later, there might be. I understand this could be a risky proposition, particularly if it did in fact lead to Jackson's death. And I respect that if you're not willing to make the commitment, clearly as he did as well. At the same time, if you start spending his money, well, I wouldn't have a whole lot of respect for a person who spent those who squandered those resources and gave up on the task.
So if we all quit now.
That campaign's over, guys.
It's been a blast.
Hope you had fun.
And thus ends the Masks of Nyarlathotep.
We never did find out anything about the master. I believe I speak for the rest of my friends when I say, in for a penny, in for a pound.
And what about the other people here, beyond your friends?
I don't know her.
How many
Or him.
generations are you willing
I
to
know
condemn?
Samus. That's about it. I would be interested to we have some of his writings, but do you know how long did you know him?
I've known him for years.
Where
I've
did
been
he
his attorney
write?
for years. On the road, mostly. He wrote as he traveled. When he was in town, he'd like to stay at Chelsea House.
The Chelsea. We did not find his typewriter.
Never typed. He wrote everything longhand. Typewriter was one more thing for him to haul with him when he was traveling.
Did he have someone type for him?
I assume someone at Prospero House.
Okay. Well, I accept that. I'd like to see what happened to him.
We owe it to him.
I have the ability to take time off to figure this out, so let's do it.
You have a card?
Of course.
You mean like a little thing you get cards all the
It's
time.
called a Rolodex.
Were they called that then yet? I don't even know.
We know how to reach him by telephone, telegram,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So
We got his
we
contact
yeah.
information.
You can wire money and all
Wire-
that.
yeah.
He absolutely can.
Okay, so that's good. So,
It looks like we're going on an expedition, eh?
why don't we?
Can we go to the Cotton Club first?
Of course.
I don't know that we'd be welcome there.
Yeah, right. Are we gonna get in there?
You can get in.
If I could go back in time to the Jazz Age, I would definitely go to the
Well, that's ominous.
Do you have any other questions for me?
You're a real buzzkill.
Is
Um,
it, oh, go ahead.
I think that we will be we will let you know what our travel plans are soon.
Very good. Just let me know so I can get the appropriate disbursements.
Thank you.
I do need receipts for everything, of course,
Oh.
just as a matter of proper accounting.
Cool.
All right then. Thank you for coming today. I'm sure Jackson would be grateful for your assistance in this matter.
Cool.
All right.
We have to go see.
Heading to meet with Millie.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we got some time to kill.
Yeah, I've got a few hours to kill in between.
Right.
She's right around the corner from here. No, let's go by the Juju house.
Yeah.
It's Monday.
That's what I was gonna
It's
say.
right up the road.
So Millie actually is going to meet you at the Lafayette Theater.
Okay.
Lafayette Theater is 7th Avenue and 132nd Street.
7th and 132nd. So
Harlem's biggest, coolest playhouse. See men and women of your own race in Broadway dramas. A good play every week. Seats reserved 6 weeks in advance.
132nd and 7th.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of on the way to the Juju house.
I don't know if we want to go into the Juju house yet until we talk to Millie.
Sure. Let's do Millie. Talk to Millie first, and then we'll go there. When does she meet us?
I believe I'd said 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Also,
a lot
I
of time
don't-
to kill.
yeah, a lot of time to
I
kill.
don't know. Well, I have credentials. I don't know if all of us should go barging into the Juju house.
Maybe we should be like observant if people are following us. Maybe we should just be paranoid from this point on.
It's probably not a bad idea.
Actually, it's
Samus.
pretty smart.
He's like Silent Bob. He doesn't
Yeah.
say much, but when he does,
It's pretty spot on. Yeah.
pearls of wisdom.
I think it would be, especially considering the weather, navigating around Harlem, it would be a lot easier to spot a tail, I would say.
Doesn't
You get-
seem unreasonable.
Well, you guys are all Professor Likes. There's Columbia University isn't that far away if you want to hang out in Columbia
Yeah,
University.
I'm fine with that. Go get coffee and go raid their library.
Sure. Anything particular you're looking for?
African death cults. Because the god of black, creatures with great wings. I don't know, weird stuff.
Don't turn anything along those lines up.
Okay.
Good question.
Cults of darkness. Father of bats.
Anything published by the Australian professor that we had talked to.
Yeah, you're absolutely able to find some archaeological papers that he's written, but none of them seem particularly relevant to the material that was in his seminar.
Okay.
Can I
It's a
meet
lot more
with Poole?
mainstream. Pardon?
Can I meet with Poole?
Yeah.
I think I want to do that.
Okay. Are you going by yourself?
I'm going to mention that. I think I want to talk to Lieutenant Poole. See
Down at
if-
the precinct?
Yeah.
Well, we're closer to Robeson, right?
Are
Who
we?
was
The 14th precinct
Was-
is
is in Harlem.
is in Harlem.
Chelsea was where Poole was at.
I don't. Yeah,
that's
but I don't
on
want to talk to Robson.
Manhattan?
So I think Poole also thinks that.
Robertson is corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, we
I
don't have
kinda-
any evidence or anything to give.
Well, we're at Columbia University.
So we didn't really ask.
There's
enough
probably a
questions.
phone that you could use without having to actually drive or go down there.
Yeah, that's true. I could do
Yeah,
that.
you can call the precinct. You
Yeah.
definitely have Poole's number. He
Yeah.
obtained your contact information at the same time as he gave you his.
Mm-hmm. So Laura,
Would be
whatever did happen
easier.
with that, are you ready to talk yet?
Nope. Where's everyone at right now?
We're at the will reading. We just left. We're going to Columbia University to go have coffee and wait until we can see Millie.
Okay. Where's the Carlyle house?
Carlyle House is in Westchester. It's about 45 minutes north of Manhattan.
By train.
Okay, you guys go see Millie. I'm gonna go to the Carlyle house.
We kind of wanted to go talk to them too at some point. Can
I don't think we can get into that. We had to make an appointment with Dustin
yeah, if there's a lawyer, with her lawyer.
Whittleby and
Right.
Gray.
So if I just show up at the house.
It's a
It'd
medical
probably not be a
emergency.
good idea.
It's like a big, like
Her
gated
being a state.
estate.
Sister's there though, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, we think so. Yeah.
That's what you think.
But you can talk. You would probably have a better chance of talking to
The lawyer?
The lawyer to set up an appointment than probably much.
Because that's what we
any
wanted to
of
do.
us.
We wanted to set up an appointment with the lawyer.
Are you going to divulge what was in those notes?
There's too much to divulge, and it's private. It's for only for Carlisle's sister.
Are you going to tell us what that is?
Nope.
Doctor-patient company. Well,
Right. And
technically you're not
compliance
his
laws,
doctor,
right?
though.
Those
That's
don't
correct.
exist
Yeah,
yet.
you're not his doctor. So
Totally
Not
don't
his
exist
doctor.
yet.
And
the
the
compliance
patient
laws.
might be dead. That could be a problem too.
Legally,
patient?
the patient is dead.
It's up in the air.
Well, can we ask what the report was you got?
I have the note. I got the notes from the psychiatrist that went, or the psychologist that went on the expedition with Carlyle
Oh, they-
before he went on the
Bef-
expedition.
before it went. So these were notes about that psychologist's just state of mind before they went. Or
Carlisle's
Carlyle was his patient
oh, so the
before he went.
okay,
on
so
the expedition.
there were notes about Carlisle before he went on the expedition.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Now, were there any
And his sister.
and his sister? Okay. Were there any insights? Were they friends or were they enemies or was the sister trying to get rid of him? Okay. That was one of my I was curious about as to whether or not she was just trying to get the inheritance or not. Okay. So
Not from what I read, no.
they got along pretty well, and I would
Yes.
have to believe that to be true. They're in the psychologist
That
notes.
might help us out too. If there's any hope
Yeah,
that Roger Carlyle might be alive.
because I wasn't trying to approach the sister because she might have wanted him dead so she could take over the fortune,
Yeah.
you know. And then if we go, hey, he's alive, she'd be like, kill these guys. that was my fear, you know. Yeah. So that's good to know. That at least sets my mind at ease at that.
Yeah.
So that lead there, though, this lawyer with you calling and saying,
This one here.
this one.
Yeah.
I missed the lawyer.
You
'Cause
were
that was my
you were
insight.
You were absorbed in
knee
reading
deep
the
in
Oh
notes.
shit, that's right. I didn't take notes because I tried not to
Yeah.
metagame. That's
Yeah.
right. So then I
Yeah.
disengage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a
There's a way in.
lawyer that we need to, that
Yeah.
I need to speak with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and we did want to talk to the sister. So if you wanted me to come
Well,
with you,
then-
we're happy to go.
I don't know how. You said 45 minutes, but then they want to do the whole Millie thing first. It's probably.
Well, you're gonna just contact the lawyer. I don't know how soon
may
he could set one up.
take
It's not
a
like
couple days.
we're talking about a high elite socialite of New York. It's not like,
Yeah.
hey, I got
But
something
she
for her.
might be-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I think no, I think we could get in pretty quick.
What's your credit rating?
4
Okay. So are you gonna? Why don't we have you place a call
to
To-
what's that?
to the
guy's name?
attorney? It's
Dustin.
Bradley Gray
Oh, yeah.
Bradley Gray.
of Dunstan, Whittleby and Gray.
Okay.
Dunstan.
Well, I'll offer if you want company, I will come with you. But if not, I'll go with see Melly.
Well, let's go through the phone call. And do you want to spend a point of credit rating?
Sure.
All right. So you
Anybody?
place. I'm good, thank you. So you place a call to Dunstan, Whittleby and Gray, and you identify yourself as Dr. Margaret Merriweather, calling regarding the Carlyle estate.
I mean,
And within just a few moments of going through from secretary to legal secretary to junior partner,
Wow.
you find yourself
Right up there.
on the phone with Bradley Gray. And he says, yes, doctor, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
Meriwether?
Yes.
What can I do for you?
What's the sister's name?
Erica Carlyle?
Erica. That's right. It's right here. Yes, Mr.
Gray.
Gray. I have some very important information that I can only pass to the sister of Mr. Carlyle.
And this is regarding?
Confidential files. Medical records.
Medical records. I should be able to take care of that for her. If you just like to come down to the office, we can go over those matters.
I don't think so. I'd really rather meet with his sister. This is very private, very confidential information. I understand that you're the lawyer, so if you would like to be present, but I really do need to speak with his sister.
You can spend a point of credit rating or a point of reassurance.
Oh, I can do reassurance. Look, can I? Oh, yeah, I'll do reassurance.
All right. Well, is this something that could affect her well-being as well?
Maybe. More of her mental state, not so much
And
her.
what are your credentials, Doctor?
I am an alienist at Storybrooke Asylum in New York.
Oh, very good.
Quite
Storybrooke.
prominent.
I wish you had mentioned that earlier. I appreciate that. Yes, I can certainly get you an appointment. Let me contact Erica and get back in touch with you about how important is this? Does this need to happen immediately, or do we have a couple of weeks? She is a very busy young woman, you understand. She runs, well, she's responsible for managing the entire Carlyle fortune.
Well, I think since she's so close to her brother, that the sooner that we can meet, the better.
I'll see if she
This
has
would be
anything
very-
free this week.
Great, thank you so much.
Absolutely, and you gave him a number to call at, I assume.
Sure.
All right.
Probably.
Or,
I mean,
he'll probably just call it Storybrooke,
okay.
since that would be the most professional situation. You
Everyone
can check
knows
for
how
a
to
message.
get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it runs that place for me.
That quack.
Never heard of her.
All right. That's gonna filter through a couple of days, but Wednesday, Erica is happy to receive you at lunch.
Wonderful.
Will it just be you, Doctor?
Who else? I would take Dr. Stewart.
Okay.
And that's probably, yeah, I think anyone else might creep her out. So that's good.
Okay. I thought Declan had some comfort moving in these same circles. So I
Isn't
could
he
be
an
wrong.
investigator though?
Yeah, I don't have the kind of reassurance necessary though to put her mind at
Or-
ease. But I do have the cop talk to tell her that we may have evidence that suggests he may be alive.
Or father. It's always
or the priest.
never a terrible idea to have a priest on hand.
Priest might be
But
better.
it's your prerogative.
And I'm pretty
Yeah,
good at all that stuff.
well, yeah.
I'm a very soothing person.
But yeah, this is really esoteric stuff, and
It's your prerogative. You're the one that
I'm
pulled
just
the
like-
medical
and
records.
I don't want like the words demon and eradication and those types of words to come up.
That's right up my alley.
Right, exactly. So let's just go with the nerdy librarian guy.
All right.
Sorry. I mean, I think that at least you could.
Yeah.
provide-
All right. So that's scheduled for Wednesday.
Okay.
Are you coming to the meeting with Millie? Because you just made a phone call with to talk to the attorney, so you could in principle.
Why don't you go with us?
Sure.
And did you want to try and squeeze in that meeting with Poole before the meeting with Millie?
Or a phone call.
We'll probably do a phone call more easily.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank God we have phones.
Mr. Declan, what can I do for you?
I just wanted to ask you a couple questions, if that's okay.
See what I can do. So is this on the record?
I'm not a reporter or anything.
I understand that. I also understand that you're a private investigator and that sometimes words leak out.
You answer me whatever makes you feel the most comfortable.
All right. Do you have cop talk?
I do.
How many?
2. Let me just make sure I do.
You haven't used
I
any, have you?
I think I did use 1
You
point
used one
On
point
pool,
at the
wasn't
crime
it?
scene.
at the crime scene to.
Okay.
No,
Alright,
I
so
did
you
not. I didn't use cop talk.
Okay.
I think I may have just rolled for cop talk.
Oh, that's right, you did, and you didn't add anything.
I didn't add. So I do have
Okay.
two cop talk.
Okay.
So I'll be honest. This morning, I met with Rebecca Schassenberg.
New York Times reporter?
Yeah.
One who wrote the story about Jackson?
Yeah.
Surprised you hadn't met with her sooner, since you were a witness. Would have thought she would have wanted to have words with you.
Yeah, we could only get in this morning. We had other.
I see. I'm
Funeral.
sure there'll be another story running soon then.
Yeah. What interests me is I have a suspicion that you may also not trust Lieutenant Robson.
Captain.
That's right, Captain.
And that would be a diplomatic way of describing my feelings towards the captain.
What do you think is going? What do you think? What makes you think that he is what Rebecca would say, a corrupt cop?
The fact that I'm pretty sure he's dirty as sin.
Do you have any evidence to support that?
If I had evidence, internal affairs would be taking care of it already. I don't have anything concrete, but if you meet him, all you gotta do is take a look at how he dresses. Ain't no police captain can afford clothes like that. And he didn't come from money. You saw what you saw with Jackson. Robeson saying that he's already got the murderer locked up just doesn't add up.
So I also assume then that you don't think that Adams is guilty.
Don't see how he could be the murderer and be in jail when the next murder happens.
Yeah. I mean, did your
He's got a pretty solid alibi as near as I can tell. Yet
So-
Robeson insisted on taking control of this case from me, saying everything matches up when I'm saying can't be the same suspect if the perp's in jail.
Did your precinct submit a report to the 14th precinct when the evidence of this same kind of MO for this murder? For Jackson?
Somehow Robeson found out about it before I'd filed any paperwork and before the Times had published it. He was there late that night
He was where?
at the crime scene while I was down at the precinct talking to you guys, you and your lot.
Did you notice anything changed? Did you go back to the crime scene after he was there?
Didn't have any jurisdiction, wasn't any point. He wouldn't have let me in.
Is there anybody that you trust in the 14th?
They're all loyal to Robeson,
All of them?
near as I can tell. I think there's some money a lot of money changing hands there.
Any other questions you think I should ask him?
I have the detect honesty skill. I could use it to believe that what he's saying he truly believes, or if it's just like an inner police rivalry type of thing.
I also have SS. Can I?
Do you have how many?
I have
what's your-
2.
You're pretty sure he's
Tell him the truth.
talking straight.
Yeah. Any other pertinent question? It was really the purpose
Good
of
insight.
the phone call was to sort of see how others felt about Robson, to try to draw my own
you want to
conclusion
look for-
about this person.
Just a suggestion. This is off character.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would think, like, does he have access to can he get access to what they filed for Jackson's murder? If
Oh,
it
that's true,
matches
too.
up to what we
Yeah.
saw.
Do you have access to the reports from that
From the 14th
from the 14th
precinct? I don't. You'd have to talk to Robeson directly for that.
If I were trying to dig up dirt and there was somebody that didn't like him, I would ask him maybe if he knew what his weakness was, maybe. Like, probably his penis. He's a man.
Sounds like with the right amount of money, we can get him to we can get him to talk.
One of my hobo special abilities, superpowers. I have the ability to like get information from the locals of an area that
Right.
That's right.
gather information from other people that just live on the street.
Yeah. That'd be good to sort of.
Or you can ask him if he knows of anybody else who has the same view of this gentleman as he does, who might be willing to.
Yeah, I did. I asked him if there was anybody in the 14th that Poole trusted, and he said that.
Not necessarily the 14th. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good point. Are there a lot of people that do not like Robeson, or is it just like anybody outside of the 14th? They all know the kind of person that he is.
Those who've had dealings with him, everybody I've talked to that's dealt with him has been suspicious of him. But it's not like he's got a huge reputation outside of there. Seems to keep his nose down, except for when it's something that is of interest to him. I don't see him looking to stand out any more than.
Does he like to gamble, maybe?
Yeah. You think
Not that I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in on this.
Well,
Yeah. There was a question. It's on the tip of my tongue. How long has he been sort of in the position that he's in now?
he's been captain for 4 years.
And has he been sort of like this, high-end, seemingly corrupt, since then, or?
I don't know his whole story, just since I started interacting with him prior to Adams getting arrested. One of the earlier murder scenes was one I worked.
And he was like that then?
He was like that then. That was about a little more than a year ago. Samus, you mentioned wanting to work the street to ask questions from people in the community.
Yeah.
You're not able to find people in Harlem who are willing to talk to you. You're not sure if it's because of the extreme cold.
Or because of my color.
Well, it could be because of your color. It could be because of the extreme cold, and but you have a feeling you'd know where to look. I mean, there's different shelters, usually in the churches, that people would duck into, but there just don't seem to be as many vagrants as you would expect to find in Harlem, especially in a city this size.
That's ominous. In general. I mean, it is January, but still.
Sorry, just wanted to make sure I said that before I forgot it.
Do you know of anybody? Do you know anyone who worked with him before he became captain?
He came up through the 14th.
Okay.
I don't have close ties there.
Well, I guess that's really all the questions I had right now.
I was gonna go to the Juju house. What do you guys think how do you think I should play this? Just look.
Did you go to Columbia with us while we were sort of meandering around?
No, I was gonna go to the Juju house.
Okay.
I don't think you should go alone.
Well, I don't want to go alone, but I don't think if I present myself as just an import-exporter, which I am, but collector.
I would just do like a walk by and see what the outside of the building looks like, and that's it.
Sounds like off to the
Yeah, and
I'm sure
not on
Samus
the
is really
main
like,
street.
man, there's no one on the streets. Like, this is weird.
Well, I definitely want to talk to him, but I don't know if showing up with
Entourage?
an entourage is the best way to approach him.
I think that's valid. But I think if we talk to Millie, we might have a better understanding sort of how to
I don't know if
approach
this guy is
person.
a pillar of the neighborhood, or he's a straight up.
Or everybody in the neighborhood knows he's like a terrifying guy.
Right.
No one's going to talk to you because,
Right.
you know.
I'd like to get more information about this guy before.
And I think Millie might be our way in. She already suspects him and the Juju house being like the center of this African death cult in Harlem.
Well, I don't know what Millie knows, but it's
Yeah.
possible. It's possible that Professor Dumbledore, or whatever his name is, Lemmings.
Yeah, but Lemmings gave us Silas Kwane's name.
Right, but I don't know if he's. I don't know if he's ever met him or is just bought stuff off his eBay auctions or whatever. Did I ask him that? I don't think I did ask him that.
You did not ask him if they had met.
Sounds like they're familiar though. I send some stuff all the time.
Yeah.
That's out of game. I mean, just listen to John talk.
Yeah. It sounds like.
We
I
should
mean,
all go one at a time so they can chop us up individually. That is my suggestion.
Where your head's at, Rich? Would it be inappropriate to take Rich with you as like your, say, manservant?
It would be
basically?
very inappropriate to take Rich. It wouldn't be
Samus.
as inappropriate to take Samus.
It's like your manservant to carry stuff for you.
And Porter.
Yeah, like a porter.
Well, you could always take your cat. That's a suggestion too.
My cat does not want to be outside in this cold because it has no fur.
It does not.
He's parked about a foot from the
Radiator?
steam register. Yeah. I am sending him updates.
Via
By
text.
telegram.
Telegram.
By telegram.
No, I think you're right. I think a lot of people showing up is probably not the best thing. So one or two, or three at most would be.
When Samus says that there's not as many vagrants around, whatever.
I don't know if he did share that or not.
Yeah, I'll share it.
Okay.
I don't see any reason to withhold it.
Yeah.
You know what? Most of the time,
We need a
I'm thinking.
van.
I might just stop by the
Scooby-Doo
Covenant.
Yeah.
I might stop by the
Mystery
Covenant and Sacred Heart.
Sorry.
They have some soup kitchens, if I remember right. I'll ask, kind of mill around and ask if the vagrant population has been really stagnant.
It has gone down dramatically in the past 2 to 3 years.
How long?
Dun dun dun.
I mean, it's not a bad thing.
Well, when they're used as sacrifice, I guess that it might be.
And this is the 20s, so there's lots of vagrants because it was the Depression and lots of people never got back.
Not yet.
We're not in the
Not
depression
yet.
yet.
No.
25. It's booming right now.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
booming. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything's great.
Yeah, real good.
We just won a war.
Yeah. There was a problem a few years ago when all the soldiers came back from the war, but most of that's been cleaned up by now. Business is booming.
Cool.
Yeah, this whole Federal Reserve, let's loan the United States government money mentality came out around then.
We're online, or I would say my real thoughts about the Fed. I'm afraid of them.
All right, so vagrant population has been going down, as in just disappearing, which
So
It could mean they're finding opportunities.
right,
Yeah.
finding opportunities.
Right, vagrants in Harlem.
There's
Finding
tons of
opportunities.
opportunities.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
There's tons of opportunities for black vagrants in 25.
Yep. Tons. Clearly, there must be. Otherwise, they'd be here.
if we expose the real people behind this cult, it might help Hilton, but I don't know if it's going to bring this Robeson down or not. He might have powerful friends. We need to find some leverage on this jerk.
Yes. I have some theories, but we'll wait to see what happens.
So, are we at Mill yet then? Is that the next step?
I think so. Yeah, I think we've milled around enough.
Let's do
on
that.
the outside
You've
of
milled
this.
around enough to make
Ah.
something.
Hopefully
Yeah.
inside.
All right.
Somewhere warm.
Yeah, Columbia. End of church.
Yeah. So you
Except
guys.
for Samus. Poor guy.
What is Bart doesn't do? She's been Here with us?
Yeah.
So you head to Lafayette Theater, and Lafayette Theater is at 132nd Street and 7th Avenue. It's a gorgeous building. There's a big marquee that stretches out over the sidewalk, and there's two women waiting outside for you. One you immediately recognize as Miss Schoenberg, the reporter that you've dealt with before, and the other is a woman who looks to be in her mid-20s, African American, tight curly hair, very attractive, wearing an overcoat. And she says, "Oh, are you the ones? It's a pleasure to meet you. Rebecca's told me that you're here to help Hilton.
Shake her hand and introduce ourselves.
Let's go inside then." She walks you in through the theater. There's not a show currently in process, so there's a lot of people working around inside, cleaning up, getting the various reception areas all set up in the lobby, cleaned up and spruced up properly. And then she walks you into the theater proper. The house lights are up, and she finds a spot kind of in one of the private boxes and asks you to all take a seat. So, and people smile and nod at Millie as you're walking through. So, what drew you to meet with me? Why are you so interested in helping out Hilton?
A friend of ours was murdered by the people that we think Milton is taking the fall for.
Oh my God! I'm stunned. I'm thrilled. Though I feel terrible for your loss. Was it a close friend?
Thank you.
And you have some experience performing these kinds of investigations?
I do.
Oh well. What can I tell you?
Well, you could start off by telling us what your husband was doing exactly to, as Rebecca said, clean up Harlem.
Do you want to spend a point of reassurance?
Yeah.
Actually, you don't need to spend it. You've got it, right?
Yes, I do.
Well, my husband didn't tell me everything. Let me start off with that preface. He thought that there were some very dangerous people active in Harlem, and he felt that the less I knew, the less danger I'd be in. Did you know that Hilton was a soldier in World War I? He was one of the Hellfighters.
Yes.
Very decorated, we hear.
Yes, well, he and a few of his friends who'd also served among the Hellfighters had all come back together, and they decided they wanted to, the police are as likely to hinder as to help around Harlem. It's just the truth of the matter. A lot of white cops. And, there's some gangs that have been pressuring in, and they're causing trouble too. Hilton and his friends, they had a vision. They wanted to clean up the city. They wanted to make sure that it was safe for everybody. And they wanted to do something about, there's a lot of stereotypes saying that Harlem's a dangerous area, that there's all kinds of crazy African types. He wanted to make sure that wasn't true. So when these murders started happening, he wanted to make sure that whoever was behind it could be exposed, and that whole mess could be cleaned up. After people started disappearing and the numbers increased, he and his friends, they hang out at Teddy's. Do you know Teddy's?
We do now.
Just a couple of blocks over this way. They started organizing patrols. Go out at night, find out who's responsible, especially after the police of the 14th Precinct refused to do anything about it. They weren't taking things seriously at all. But even after those mutilated bodies started appearing, the police just kept saying it was gang violence, robberies. Even after that crazy old crackpot said it was a death cult. At least that's what Robeson called him, some crazy old crackpot.
What's the name?
Mordecai Lemming. Anyway.
Wait, Mordecai Lemming. Dr. Lemming?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anyway, Hilton did some checking up at the New York Public Library. They found some references to some long-dead cult from East Africa. Felt that had something to do with the symbol that was being carved on these people's heads. Must have been the same one that Dr. Lemming talked about. He had a journal, Hilton did, where he kept all his notes about it. I remember he had a strip of red cloth that he used as a bookmark in the journal. I think it probably had some significance, but the police confiscated it when they arrested him. And let me tell you, the police were looking for an excuse to arrest him. They kept coming around and telling everybody that stirring up trouble, trying to follow up on these murders, was just going to cause more trouble for him. A couple of Hilton's friends rather, they had to back out of the investigation after their bosses threatened to fire them if they kept it up. Seems some of the old guard here around in Harlem didn't like the idea of this going on. They felt that stirring up trouble and asking the wrong sorts of questions was going to cause more trouble than even these murders were causing. I have a hard time believing that, but that's what they said. Church elders even came out in their sermons and said, don't go stirring up trouble. Anyway, he did tell me he thought there was a cult working in Harlem. He thought they were paying the police off, turn a blind eye to all of it. And I heard Hilton say something to his friend Needham Johnson, one of the reporters of the New York Age. He's one of the guys that would hang out at Teddy's with him. Anyway, I heard him mention Juju House. So, back in September, last September 24, after Hilton was arrested, found standing over the body of a middle-aged white man not far from the Harlem branch of the library. The police said that they saw Hilton throw a bloody knife when they found him. That knife, that was Hilton's army knife. It's the bolo that he was issued. He didn't have that with him that night. He said he was taking a revolver out with him to keep things safe. His service revolver. He never took the knife out with him when he went on patrol.
Do you have a knife?
It wasn't at home when I went looking for it.
And his friends here after he was arrested, what happened to them?
Well, all the patrons at Teddy's, they got together and collected money, and they paid for Hilton's legal defense because New York Legal Aid Society said this case wasn't worth supporting. There was enough money for the defense, there was enough money for one appeal, and there wasn't any money left. And all the boys said they'd done all they could at that point. Said they were getting pressure to not do any more investigating. Money's all gone. Now it's just a matter of time before Hilton meets with the chair. Unless you can do something to clear his name.
We will try.
I think the cut of this girl is jib. I think we're going to come to the bottom of this. If our friend is killed, he's going to take a fall for it. That doesn't stand right with me.
Well, he won't. He couldn't have done. Obviously, the newspaper needs to put pressure on this because Hilton was in jail when our friend was killed.
Oh, I can write anything. That's Rebecca talking. But I need to have a case before the editors are going to let me put it to print.
Speaking of which, can you get the transcripts for the case about Jackson? It's at the 14th right now.
I can make some inquiries. 14th hasn't been real cooperative with turning over what they should to the press.
If you want to stir the pot, we can provide you with the details of what happened. But
Please.
Millie.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to drop the Irish accent in there. Can you help us talk to his friends? We're not exactly welcome here. And talking to people might be a little difficult for us. I don't want to put you in danger, mind you.
I don't think I can go into Teddy's right now. I just can't do it. It's
Is there something that you could possibly give us that we could go into Teddy's with? Something they'd know was from you. And
Melanin.
that we
if you tell
Or
them you
helping
talk
you.
to me, they'll believe you. But did you say you knew something about Juju House? Because you looked like you'd heard that name before when I mentioned it.
I would like to speak with the proprietor, but I would like to. I want to get some more information before I go there.
Silas?
Yes.
Silas DeQuana. Yeah, he runs it.
What do you know about him?
I've been watching the place. Ever since my husband was arrested, I've been sneaking out and watching it. Usually at night, after the shows. I've noticed once a month, late in the middle of the night, early hours of the morning, about 20 to 30 people go into that shop.
Is it on the full moon?
No, it's
Dressed-
on the new moon.
Dressed as what?
Just
Regular?
normal dress, but 20 to 30 people go in there,
at the new moon
night of the new moon.
this weekend.
It's the same time that Hilton and his friends would go out on patrol. It's a mixed bunch. There's some that are tramps, look like lowlives, but there's others look like my husband, people that worked in construction. Nobody I knew though. One of the nights, I saw some crates going in on the night before gathering, or just about an hour or so before the guests all started showing up. It could be that there's a speakeasy happening in the basement. I don't know. But some of those people going in didn't look like they could afford any decent speakeasy. And I haven't heard anybody whispering about one. And let me tell you, working in the theater, people know where the speakeasies are.
What kind of reputation does Silas have? See,
He doesn't go out much. Fact of the matter. As far as I know, he ducks out for lunch, ducks out for dinner. That's about it. Doesn't have. He's an old man. I don't know. But there is one other thing. I've seen police detectives going into Juju House during daylight hours. I think they were getting their payoffs.
Was Captain Robeson?
I've never saw him, but saw a few of his detectives.
That actually worked for him.
Yeah,
Do you know?
14th Precinct detectives. Ones that were supposedly confirming Hilton's activities.
Did Hilton tell you that he saw detectives go in before he was starting to get harassed by the police?
Hilton wouldn't tell me any of this. This is all stuff I found out after I started watching, after he'd been arrested.
Have you visited Hilton?
Yeah, of course.
Has he given any insight since then?
He won't talk about it with me. He's afraid that I'm going to do something stupid and get myself hurt.
Well,
And let me tell you, one time a couple of the people that were standing around that alleyway watching the front of the shop saw me when I was looking out one of the tenement windows up in the neighboring building. I had to run.
Did they chase?
If they did, I was faster. I didn't see anybody behind me, but been afraid that I was being watched ever since.
we've been led to believe that there's been less vagrants around the.
She said people started disappearing.
But is it people that would be vagrants or just normal, regular, run-of-the-mill people?
It's mostly vagrants that have been disappearing, but not only vagrants. Anybody have Cess Honesty?
Yeah.
Everybody with assess honesty, you're pretty sure she's been telling the truth, but you're also pretty sure there's something she hasn't said.
I'll, look, you can trust us when I say we're here to help you and your husband. If that has anything to do with our friend's death, we're going to go to the end of it to find out what. So that's absolutely everything.
You want to spend a point of reassurance?
Yeah.
I'm concerned that if something doesn't get found out soon, Hilton's going to go to the chair, and then whoever's behind this is going to come after me too. I got to keep trying. I got to keep doing everything I can to stop them, to find them, and bring things to justice. I know Hilton would do the same thing for me. And if there's anything I can do to help you, or if you can help me, I'd certainly appreciate that.
What do
Anything
you
else you can
suggest
tell me?
we can do?
Well, I don't know.
I mean-
If you can find out who the actual murderer is, that seems like the big step. If you want to go into Juju House, I'm just one woman. I'm working by myself. There's a whole bunch of crazy murderers in there. I can't take care of that by myself.
Well, it seems like there's only a bunch of crazy murderers there on the new moon.
Which is this Saturday.
We, when our friend was murdered, we accidentally may have killed a cultist or two, but one of them said something about this living in the sewers. Do you know anything about that?
No, I sure don't.
He may have been under the influence of some kind of
Something strong.
Do you know if there's any sort of illegal narcotics that are going around, or if the Juju House might be involved in that?
I haven't heard anything about it. It's certainly possible, though.
Well, that would be one way to explain.
They are an import business.
That would be one way to explain why people would do crazy things if they were under the influence
I'd
of
say it sure would.
that reefer madness.
When was heroin made illegal again? 21?
I think it was later than that.
I think it's illegal right in the 20s. I think it was like the 30s or 40s.
I thought it's called the Dangerous Drug Act or something like that.
I don't know off the top of my head. You looking it up?
One moment, please.
Thank you.
History and heroin.
So there's a subway station really close to the Juju House.
Yeah.
Are we going
I
to
was just
go
looking at
down
that.
in the tunnels now? Is that the next step?
Can
Well,
we ask the reporter if she can pull us the records of the Juju House, like the architect records, like copies?
We could probably
I
get
can
that
pull them,
video.
but the a lot of construction in Harlem is done
On
off the
on
record.
sly?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what the original layout of the building was and take a look at what's been done to it. Especially if you're going in the tunnels.
I don't know the tunnels.
Has Millie stayed
Not
long
without a sword
enough
cane. And my
to
cat.
observe the people entering and exiting?
I have to get some sleep sometime, honey. I've seen him go in. I haven't seen him come back out.
Stake out.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Should we be afraid of Silas?
1914. That's when they outlawed
I
cocaine
certainly
and
would be.
heroin.
Oh,
Not for medical use, though.
Is he?
1914, it was still
Is he
approved.
physically dangerous, or do you think he? Where is he from? Do you know? Is he from East Africa? From the islands? Or?
1920.
Well, I'm not sure, but he
24?
does
Okay.
usually wear a red red robe around him. And that's
Like a wizard's robe?
like a red blanket that he keeps
fair
wrapped around him. And that's usually something worn by Maasi tribemen. M-A-A-S-I.
They speak Swahili?
I don't know. That's an excellent question.
Yes.
So he's our guy.
I'm making I was born in Africa roll.
Africa's a big place.
Yes, it is with a lot of cultures.
Well, I mean, it's at the bottom of the Nile River. They're actually Lake Victoria is.
The Maasi tribesmen speak Maasi.
Is that one of the languages that you know?
Now, right?
We're going through them fast, guys. Just saying.
I'm
Got
working 2 points for that.
This we pretty much got all the information we need.
Do you know if he has
Sounds like we're
security
gonna be
at
doing
the
a
store?
stakeout.
Or is
On
he
nights
just-
when there's a meeting, I've seen
Or
security.
just if I walked in and bought, I want to buy a sword cane.
I don't know if
Can I
you
just
carry that.
walk in and get one and without
murder
being
at fools.
roughed up?
You could ask. I don't know if he carries that sort of thing. There is another man that I've seen coming and going from the shop time to time, though. He's, like I said, Nikwane is an elderly man. Not a whole lot of hair and hunched over often. The other man is not. He's in much better condition. I think he's quite a bit younger. And he looks rather intimidating with his head shaved cleanly. Always seems angry. I don't know who he is.
Does he seem like a bodyguard or more like an associate? Like a, I want to say associate.
Big bald guy,
Yeah, I guess associate.
African American.
Yes.
It's so hard to play this game because to be authentic is super racist these days. Like,
You can probably say Negro.
right. But that's
But,
not even
yeah.
something I would say today.
it's
No,
tough.
it's certainly
No.
it's not
Yeah.
something I would ever say,
No,
but it's
yeah.
the term that would
Yeah.
the polite term. More
I was just
polite
thinking
term.
how people talk back in the 20s, and I was like, man, you
I ain't
couldn't-
doing it.
Yeah, I'm not. No way. It's.
I don't have any more questions.
I think we pretty much got everything.
Here,
else.
you-
Yeah.
You've been very wonderful, Millie, and we will do what we can to.
Let me know if I can do anything to help. Are you going to meet with Hilton?
Yes.
I am.
Tomorrow.
Great. I'm sure if he can do anything to help, he'll be happy to. And see if you can get those useless wrecks down at Teddy's to help you too.
So, last question before we leave. You said his journal was taken by the police officer, the one with the red bookmark.
Yes.
So the police have that.
Well, they confiscated it.
That would be worth having.
Yeah.
Maybe try to get in and do some stuff.
That would be worth having.
Well,
Yeah.
this is out of character. What I'm thinking is it's time to have a little stake out here. I mean, there's tenement buildings around this place. Should be easy to rent a room for a couple of days. They probably rent them by the hour. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
but
saying?
yes, yeah, we totally can. The problem is 6 white people in Harlem renting a room is going to be news to everybody.
I'm not white.
5 white people and an African.
Who you calling white? Colonizer.
Colonizer.
We can always pay people to watch it too.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm thinking if we go to Teddy's, we might be able to recruit some people to.
That's a
maybe
really
watch
good
it.
idea. That's a great idea.
I would like to go see.
And like I said, the new moon is coming up this coming Saturday.
I would like
Some
to.
dynamite.
I would like to see. Talk to Silas, but if we go to Teddy's, maybe we can find somebody that could go with me. Somebody with some muscle. That's
not
would
me.
blend in the neighborhood and not draw attention.
Well,
Maybe.
Honestly,
we need to pitch a story.
Let me
though,
rub
right?
my lamp and see if I can.
I mean, you're an
honestly
antiquarian.
speaking, like if you want to go there, don't get me wrong, this is a lot of character. It makes a lot of sense if you go alone to just say I'm looking to procure certain
some stuff.
Yeah, like I'm, in town. I know it's just you're the place to go to find the stuff that I'm looking for, and do it. Be as observant as you can, but like don't hint on anything.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like,
I'm not bringing up
like
death
kick the
cults
door in. Where's
or
the
nothing.
shit?
Yeah. I mean, that'd be a good way in, right? You're the professional Mustafa Ali who's going in there to procure some stuff and talk about antiquities.
And you already sent a telegram that wasn't
Like
answered.
it's pretty
You
obviously
could
some
be
sinister shit's
following
going
up.
on here, but I
Yeah.
don't think they murderate anybody who walks through the door.
You don't know that though. I mean, there's lots of
It could
vagrants
just be a
missing.
straight guillotine. You just walk in and
Well, if this other gentleman that you guys were talking to, he's like, oh yeah, I'm an easy sell, and this guy wants to sell stuff, so
Yeah,
go there with a little bit of money and at least purchase something. I mean,
a sword cane.
I mean, it's not just a front, because if he is responsible for paying off the police department, or at least the influential ones,
Yeah,
that matter,
murdering
then he's-
hobos. No offense. Probably doesn't pay enough to bribe
Yeah,
detectives.
so he's probably a legitimate business.
Yeah,
so I think our next stop is Teddy's.
maybe murdering hobos is his.
Yeah, I do
Hobby.
have accounting. I can always do a little research into that. Just make
What?
sure.
How much it would cost to
No,
murder
to
a hobo?
to see
How much can you get
if
for
it is
murdering
a legitimate
hobos?
business. To see if it is a legitimate business.
Well, when I
How
talked
are
to
you
the
gonna check
import.
I don't really know.
Better Business Bureau of Harlem.
Yeah, exactly.
When I talked to the
Chamber of Commerce.
importer,
Oh yeah, Chamber of Commerce, I guess.
when I talked to the importer, he said he does a lot of business with them.
Okay.
Import-export guy.
So clearly he's into some legit shit.
Yeah.
Hey, and if all else fails, we do have bait, an actual hobo.
Yeah.
I don't even have to
with
pretend.
a jacked up arm.
Yeah, he's like a perfect candidate as a potential sacrificial victim.
Just send me in on Saturday night.
Yeah. Which
Hey, guys.
is a bad idea.
Is this the soup kitchen? Come on in, sir.
Yay.
We've got soup in the back for you. It's like the Conan scene. Ian sticking in the pot.
Just push down.
if I go in, and I don't come out in an hour, you guys can come in with,
We'll get medieval,
I wish we still had that
burn to the ground.
that Peruvian death stick. That
Yeah, right.
shit was handy.
What was it?
Stole.
But that only works
We
against
used
those
a lot
guys
of
down
gold.
there.
Hmm?
We need a death cult stick. You see, the Peruvian stick wouldn't work up here.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, when should I do it?
We have downtime right now. So I mean, as just like a
can at least-
recon mission,
I can at
you
least
go in at any time.
I can at least. Do we want to go to Teddy's first? Do we want to all go to Teddy's or?
I mean, I think both ideas are great.
I'm not really good at Teddy's at all.
I mean, I could probably handle Teddy's okay. Like the priest.
Yes,
probably
I'll
could too.
organize patrols.
Samus is
Sorry.
probably good for
I had to
Teddy's.
answer
Yeah.
the second highest call.
What's that?
I had to answer the second highest call.
I just realized that I could watch on my phone if I go to the bathroom or whatever, see what's going on.
Honestly, if you're
God.
going to the bathroom, I'd rather you not be watching this stream at the same time.
Or,
There's only one stream I want you watching there.
we gotta,
Well played, John Don. Well played.
if one of us is sick, can we?
Stream in.
Yeah.
We'll discuss that if it happens. I don't know what bandwidth's available here.
Alright, so Teddy's?
Alright, so
What did Margaret think about all of this?
I'm not going to Teddy's.
I will go to
Or she's not
Teddy's.
going
I'm.
better suited to go with him. I mean, I speak Swahili and
Yeah.
a bunch of other languages.
I want to go to Juju.
I think the
house
three of us are
badly.
way better suited to go into the Juju house than
Yeah.
Teddy's.
Yeah, I mean that could also be like a good sort of cover story.
we've
I mean,
got-
you're academics.
We've got a
you're-
shit ton of credit rating between
I
the two
don't-
of us.
Yeah, right. It could be investors in some lucrative business
Yeah.
in and out of Cairo, and as investors to
Yes, from Cairo. True.
the stuff as
And
business.
owns your
Also-
own antiquity store in Cairo.
Yeah.
Also, but I think that we probably don't want. I'm guessing Silas probably has a lot of an intel network in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Maybe we don't want to spend too much time in the neighborhood, other than asking around or.
Yeah, I mean, right. If
You
we're here
guys,
for
you guys go
hours-
check out the Juju house. Us three will check out Teddy.
I think that's a good split.
Yeah.
Are
and
you
then
cool with
we'll-
that?
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I think you're right though, Tom. I mean,
But I think we
if
take
the
your
longer
lead
we
with
are
Juju
in
House.
Harlem, the more like
Suspicion,
word is going to
yeah.
go around.
That
Like,
there's-
there are a
Just
lot of white
constant
dudes
people
asking
asking
Right.
questions that are.
All right, so it's probably about 4:30. You were meeting 4 o'clock with Millie, so it's probably about 4:30 when you guys are leaving the theater. And then you're splitting up. Go ahead.
Before we leave, though, how do we get in contact with her if we have to?
She says you can call and leave a message at the theater. I'm here every day. And there's always someone here to answer a call.
Do you want? I can go to the Juju house by myself.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I think
I would prefer if you guys were nearby.
That's what I'm gonna say. Just,
But here's the thing. Margaret and I aren't coming in guns blazing to save you at the
I don't
Juju
have.
house.
Well, I do have a gun, but
I-
I was like,
I
I
don't.
don't. But yes, I do.
I don't. Like,
But
if
it's
you're
it's
looking for
a-
backup, these three are the backup. You know.
Yeah, so it's like, what are you planning on? It's 4:30 on a Tuesday, right?
And it's cold and snowy.
And it's cold and snowy, but it's still a shop. I mean, it can't.
Yeah.
It needs to
We're-
make money.
I think some rich folk
yeah,
with an
there's-
antiquity.
and you've already
You got a
done
good
the
cover
telegram.
story, don't
you
worry
can
about
push
it,
like
yeah.
I sent a telegram.
Well, I'm
not
definitely
trying to
going.
be
I'm just
rude.
trying to decide if I'm going to show it up with a bunch of white Euro people.
You're in New York City.
yeah.
What you gonna do?
White Euro people in Cairo, Egypt, though, is also not uncommon when it comes to the export of antiquities.
What's your trepidation?
That will all get eaten.
You can be chopped up in little
So you're
pieces.
out of Game Fairs.
Like I said, in my
That's
mind,
the
and this
point,
is
it's
again
a
just in my
win.
mind, I don't think they murderate everybody who walks in that store.
It's a
Yeah.
win, then, right?
Whether
A
we-
win.
And I think you're better off
When
having other people
Trail
with
of
you
Cthulhu.
if that's your fear than going in by yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
I think that's
so
more
do you
I
think you're
win than
safer
you guys
going
win.
in
So
by
let's
go.
yourself? That's a great point, Dr.
Well, I mean,
Stewart.
That's why I said we should kind of limit ourselves.
God, he's a coward.
I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out where your head is and
Fortune
what,
favors
what you're
gold.
looking. Do you want to go
Just
by
keep-
yourself? Do you
let's
think it's
just
a better
keep
deal?
I don't know. We can just go, but we should get our cover story straight.
Okay.
You guys are.
We're investors
Like
in your business.
Right.
Who's going with?
Those two are going with you.
Okay, Margaret and
Dr.
Dr.
Stewart.
Stewart.
Dr. Stewart. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, since
You
we've
guys
spent-
don't look like thugs.
No,
That's
No.
no, I don't have
No.
a gun.
My
No, I don't
Totally
want
not
to
doing
go
that.
in there with thugs.
Jesus.
All right, since we've spent a lot of time figuring
Trying
out
to
how we're
figure
doing this.
out.
I want to proceed to that scene before we proceed to Teddy's, if that's okay.
Okay.
All right.
We're going to Juju's.
So the three of you head to Juju House.
Okay.
I believe I mentioned where it was located,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's
Lennox
on-
and
Lennox.
East
It's
132nd.
the address is actually 1 Ransom Court, which is an alley off of West 137th east of Lenox Avenue. And this is a small alley completely surrounded by tenement buildings. All right, so there's all of these 6, 8-story high tenements, and then this little narrow alley between two of them called Ransom Court. And that alley opens up into this small little courtyard area. And the courtyard is not big. It's about 20 foot aside.
We should spend some money.
It's bricked,
That's nice.
bricked pavement, and there's 2 storefronts at the end of it. Storefront on the left has a pawn shop sign up on it, but it's clearly out of business. Store on the right has a sign up on it that says Juju House. There is a display window in the front and then curtains behind the display window so you can't actually see into the store through the window. Displayed in the window you see several African tribal masks. And in the corner, I said it was 4:30 when you were leaving the theater. Probably took you about 15 minutes to walk here. On the corner, there's a little sign of the window that says 9 to 5 weekdays.
Gotta get in there quick.
Look at half
And
hour.
closed on Sundays, lunch 12 p.m. or noon to 1 p.m.
Just 30 minutes before
So walk
close.
in now.
So you've got about 15 minutes,
Oh,
about quarter
yeah.
to 5 by the time you guys got there.
Okay. I will give him my card and I will.
So you walk in.
Mm-hmm.
You know how when you walk into some stores, there's a very strong smell. This, when you walk in, there's a lot of spice scent in the
Bed
air.
Bath & Beyond.
Yeah.
Think more like any head
Yeah,
shop
like
you've
a
ever
head
walked
shop.
into.
So you can fart and nobody will know.
Exactly, you're in the
Head
clear.
shop.
And when you walk in, you immediately see it's a very small, very cramped shop. It's smaller than this area we're sitting in. It's maybe 12 feet wide by about 15 feet deep. And there's a blanket at the back, again hanging at the back wall. It's a nice African tribal blanket. It's nicely patterned. But you suspect that there's probably another opening behind it. Just a few feet in from the back wall, there's a glass display case, and there's a man standing behind the display case. Looks like he's got the display case set up as a sales counter. He looks to be in his mid-70s. He's very thin, very wrinkled, almost completely bald, just a few wisps of white hair around the sides of his head. And the walls are completely covered in shelves, and the shelves are piled with an assortment of different African knickknacks. There are
Wearing a red
tribal masks. He is wearing a red, not really a robe so much as like a blanket that's kind of wrapped around him. You do recognize it as being a Maasai style robe. There's a nice rug down on the floor, again a tribal pattern. One of the shelves you see there's several similar rugs rolled up. Looks like they're for sale. It's a broad range of different things that are for sale in here, but all clearly imported from African, clearly tribal creations. Everything's handmade. Broad range of different devices here. And as you walk in, he goes, customers, so good to see you. What can I do for you?
Greetings.
Greetings.
I trust you are warm on this cold day.
I don't think anywhere in this
America.
godforsaken city is warm today.
I miss Africa so bad.
Ah, yes. Days like this I do as well. What can I do for you today? What
My
brings you to
name
my
is-
shop?
My name is Mustafa Ali.
I
had-
received your telegram. I'm sorry, we were closed on Sundays.
That
I
is
did
fine.
not. There's just no way I could be present for you. My deepest apologies.
If I were not in a hurry, I would have not have bothered you. As you know, it is also the Lord's Day.
Yes, yes. What is it that I can do for you?
These are my friends, Margaret
Pleasure to meet you, Margaret.
and Alexander. Oh, I'm sorry.
Very good to meet you as well, Alexander.
Pleasure.
They are interested in purchasing rare items from Africa.
Well, I can always bring something in if there's something specific you were looking for, though we do have several ivory tusk samples, and he points to a few articles in the display case.
Go
which
look
are-
at him. I'll look at that stuff.
They're beautifully carved ivory tusks.
Also, I do travel back and forth to Egypt a lot, and I have a shop myself, much like yours, but not as fine.
Oh, well, you are too kind.
I deal mostly with Egyptian artifacts, and not so much with the. Excuse me.
The blue.
That's the trial.
My little antelope is coming back up. Sorry.
Your Yahoo.
Yes. I realize that it's late, but can we look around a little at your goods?
Can I use history to ask questions about certain pieces?
You absolutely can.
Do I
You
need
don't
to
even need to
anything?
spend a
Okay.
point. No, you're good. He is very knowledgeable about his stock, and you immediately recognize that what he is selling is all authentic, and he does seem to be fairly knowledgeable about it. You do pick up from his accent, though, that he isn't Masai.
Okay.
You're not sure why he's wearing that outfit unless he's wearing it. Your guess is he'd be wearing it because it fits with customers' expectations.
What's his accent put to?
You're not sure, but your guess is Kenyan.
Speaks Kenyan Swahili.
All right.
I won't say anything.
Okay.
I also have a little bit of a cult. Is there anything occulty in here?
There is nothing occult-like in here, actually.
What do you think?
I'm waiting. It looks like he's busy.
No, please.
Can I use magic to suss out interdimensional energy pockets or anything that might seem unusual in this shop? Without, like, using it as an investigative skill. Without looking like a crazy person.
So there isn't subtle magic in the Cthulhu mythos.
It's
pretty much any
much.
magic, you would look like a crazy person.
So there's no way to just sort of...
You can't do the...
Yeah, right. I thought maybe...
It's a good idea,
yeah.
but it doesn't really fit the genre. I
Okay.
don't think that's something that would...
You guys got to get into the back room.
That's what I want to get in the back room. So I don't sense anything from the back room other than the fact that I want to open. Other than she just wants to go back there really, really badly.
I don't think.
So nothing subtle.
I don't think the
obvious.
back room is going to be where it's at. It's probably going to be in the basement.
Well, the back room probably leads to the basement.
Yeah.
I mean, I have sensed trouble. Do I sense anything?
So I would let you know if I wanted.
Okay.
But so nothing immediately jumps out.
Nothing's coming out. Okay.
Assess honesty. Any of you know?
I have that.
You.
I have no doubt that this guy is.
Yeah.
crooked.
You think he hasn't told you any blatant lies, but you also get the impression that a good businessman might have started talking shop with you and possibly offered to talk about import-export business or brought up things related to his business pursuits. There was none of that.
Ask him what part of Africa he's from.
Oh, Kenya.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been there once.
Oh, very good. What brought you there?
I was there on a research trip a few years back for my.
Oh, what were you researching?
I was history.
Of?
Just that African continent.
It is a large continent.
Yeah.
There is a
You
lot
almost
of
said
history
death
there.
cults, didn't you?
I wanted to say death cults specifically.
They specifically did that, but not.
Yeah. No, it was a beautiful place. Just talk a little bit about that.
I miss the rains.
Down Africa.
Okay.
K-Toto.
K-Toto. I like that.
I will ask him in a couple of general business questions about import duties and that kind of stuff and see if
He seems knowledgeable. He responds with information that seems reasonable. You're not. I don't. Well, you're pretty familiar with U.S. import and export.
Yeah, because I have to.
So
all
yeah,
the stuff from Egypt I got to get.
the stuff. It sounds like he might have a better agent for getting things in than you do. It's possible that was it Emerson? Imports might be a better contact for you than you realized. You might want to send some business their way, but he's not. He's talking the talk. He's not. You don't think he's BSing you on any of it.
Do we hear anything from the back of the shop, or is there any sign of this large? I don't want to come in
Right.
and ask him if he has problems with, the shop being, because we already know all that stuff. I just kind of wanted to get a feel for this guy.
Wait, who gave us the card about him? Where did it? Let's.
Jackson.
We found it in Jackson's apartment.
Ask him. Should we ask him? He goes. No, because they killed him.
Maybe
Wow,
they did,
maybe.
yeah.
Probably that's a bad.
I don't think there's. Are there any
not this
symbols
guy, but
on
maybe
any of this
somebody.
that we recognize?
There are symbols all over the place
But I
because
mean-
almost everything is carved.
But
And
specifically,
as experts in African history, you recognize lots of them,
They're not occult.
but none of them resonate as specific occult artifacts.
Should we ask him if he knows what that symbol is that was on Jackson's head?
Yeah, that's a good opener.
I don't think so.
Show him the picture.
Here's a picture of my dead friend.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your dude's
recognize
killed
this
him.
symbol?
What's
Yeah.
the symbol mean that they carved in his head? Your buddy's
Listen,
carved in
we
his
know
head.
that we know that you're the guy, so you just tell us what that
P.S. I killed like 3 of your people.
2. One in custody.
That's fair.
And technically, you didn't kill anybody.
I am not a killer.
Yeah.
I'm a lover.
Give yourself time. I've already lost 2 of my pillars within one 4-year session.
I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here, and I'm going to ask him if, I'm going to say, my friends just asked me a question about that gentleman, that rich man who was in the news, was
There's many rich men in New York
the
City.
one who disappeared in East Africa. Carlyle, was that what his
That
name
was years ago.
They were asking me if there were if you had any masks from that region.
Oh, yes, I think I do. And he goes over and points. That one is from no more than 20 miles away.
Very interesting.
Yes. Is someone looking for an artifact? I could give you a very fair deal on it.
How much?
Oh, $35.
$35. I could walk to Africa and back for $35.
Well, then I encourage you to do so, good sir. It is not that far. Or it is quite a distance, rather. I mean, in order to obtain one in order to obtain one that's handcrafted and custom made for the
I
American
bet
culture.
it says "Made in China" on the back.
You think it's that easy to get things in and out of China?
Oops.
Perhaps you are not as knowledgeable an importer and exporter as you claim.
I own a shop. I am not an importer exporter.
Ah, well then.
I'll buy something.
Just to like
Just
calm it all
something
down.
little, like a little trinket.
Like a
No, this is
knick-knack.
how we do things.
Oh,
I got nervous, so I'm like, I'll take that.
I don't like this. I'm uncomfortable.
Oh, that rug? That will be...
No, just something little like pin on my shirt. That's all I want.
Since I'm interested in doing business
Buy
with
the
you,
rug
kind
over
sir,
the
I
back
will
door.
give you 25.
For 25, my granddaughter will starve to death at these sacrifices.
Ah! May
These sacrifices.
may the fleas of 1,000
shop.
Very well, sir. It was very good to meet you.
Oh, pleasure to meet
and
you.
I look
as well.
forward to doing much business on both sides of the ocean, sir.
Very good then. Where do you head from the shop?
To change hotel room.
I think we had to meet up with these guys after they're done with their
Oh
arc.
yeah, it's their turn
Okay.
now.
Yes,
So
sir.
we're all going to meet up. You'll meet back at Columbia? Is that where the college?
At our hotel.
Back at the hotel?
Yeah.
We'll go back. Go on the subway. Take the train back to the hotel.
Just like subway.
Yeah.
Is now I sense trouble?
Your spider sense is
Mine
tingling.
too, then.
Anybody want to give me a shadowing roll?
Sure.
Yeah, I do.
I rolled a 1.
Ooh, I'm gonna.
I mean, I
I'm
don't
gonna
But
spend a
know
you
what
point.
that
tell me if you're
is.
spending points on it before
I'm
you
gonna
roll.
spend a point.
All right.
I lost my die.
It's in front of your passport.
There it is. Passport.
Yes.
6. Nice.
7.
7.
I have nothing. 1.
All right.
Everything's
So
great.
you guys are both very intrigued watching the frozen streets of Harlem as you're walking out. You, however, notice as you're walking out and rounding the alley entrance and heading back up the street, you notice that
With your-
Silas comes walking out as well.
Silas was.
Naquane, the man you just spoke with.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He comes walking out as well, and he turns the other way up the street. Occurs to you, no one's minding the shop right now.
I'll tell you about the 2 people in the back room, though, right? Or no?
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 people in the back room.
There were
Well,
2
there were beds for 2 people.
Oh, I thought there were 2 people sleeping.
No, there was accommodations
Oh,
for
okay.
2 people.
Never mind then.
None of these guys can bust in a door.
You want to
I'm
borrow
just
my,
guessing.
you
I
wanna
don't know
borrow
if
my
you know.
lockpick?
Well, let's go in this alley and talk about this.
I'm sure that's great. Just an alley.
I'm going to leave you guys to discuss what you want to do while we
Offline?
go over
Cool.
to Tommy's.
Teddy's.
Teddy's, sorry. Yes. I don't know why I keep thinking Tommy's.
Probably like Tommy guns. Like
Yeah.
Appears that we
That's
can
the
either
other part of town.
follow him. He would probably see
Follow
us.
who?
My shadowing sucks.
Silas.
Where's Silas?
I might still stop
He
asking
walked
you
out of the
for
shop.
I know, but my character didn't see it.
Oh, did you see that? Silas just walked out of the shop. He locked it up.
Are we locked? Oh,
So
well,
you
it
guys
was
head into
short.
Teddy's.
It was closing time.
And as you're
Yeah.
heading into Teddy's,
We could try and jimmy the lock
you notice that
and check it out, or
We'll tell
you
what I saw
have
in
the
back
lightest
room, but
complexions
that's the
in the
thing.
place.
oh,
There's a
It's a
bed,
saloon,
stupid thing for 2.
But it's a
I think it's
saloon
the
during
other
the
younger
Prohibition
guy that
era,
probably lives
so
with
that
him,
means
the other bald guy.
it's basically a
I don't
coffee
think
house,
Silas does.
right?
Well, my skin might be dirty.
Fair enough, but even at that, you stand out.
we.
Yes.
I have.
It's dinner time. People are just getting off their shifts.
I have
It's
a
you showing up,
decent
just before
shadowing
5
because
o'clock.
I
So people
was
are wandering
follower.
in at the same
I
time
don't
as you
know.
do.
We're not good.
And you stand out.
Margaret, are you good at
What
it?
are you doing?
Walk right up to that
No.
bar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why I
There's an
didn't even
open
notice
seat.
the dude
Worth
leave.
3.
I'm the same bar.
You can squeeze in.
Or we could try and
What was the name of one of the
get
friends?
into the
They wrote
shop
it down.
to check it out.
I mean,
I'm not really
Johnson.
comfortable with breaking and entering.
Good evening.
oh my god, you have more principles down
list of
here
films.
still. You're
He
pillar.
hasn't murdered
His
anything.
damn
Have a
pillars are
name,
probably
Father.
the moral
We've
principle
murdered
Needham.
I used to have that.
the
Needham.
father of leeches.
What are you
Margaret
looking
used to
for?
have that once.
If this were,
Need to speak to him about his good friend. Good
What
man.
are you hoping to find if we pop
Right
this?
now, rotten in a
I
jail.
don't
He shouldn't
know.
Well, here's the thing. If 20 people are walking
Talking
in there,
about
where are they
Hilton?
going? Because that
I
place
am.
wasn't big enough for 20 people.
Probably want to talk to the folks in that booth right over
Well,
there.
when you saw the back room,
He
you
gives a
didn't
nod,
see any staircase,
and there's a
did
booth
you?
with 4 men sitting at it,
Unless there's a trap door or something.
currently all drinking coffee,
Yeah,
and you
said
can
saw some beds
hear them
and stuff.
muttering
Beds
angrily
and rugs and
about
things.
something
But not
between
like
them.
it wasn't
Can we
nicely
get
set
the-
up right. It was like like almost squat
We
level.
get some sandwiches
Set
over
there
there
as
as
well.
well.
That's what it sounded like.
Certainly can,
We
Father.
may have
Thanks.
someone there
I'll approach
to
him.
watch the place when he's not there. Also,
Dave,
Remember when
Are you
what's
going
her name?
alone, or are you two compatriots
Millie,
going with you.
Millie
Come on,
told us
gents.
that they see like 20 people showing up on
I'll
all the
go.
moves.
All right.
And
So you're
cops.
heading over to a booth.
Where are all
Yeah.
those people going?
The 14 trees like,
You're
well, they
not
must be
And
coming in.
as you're
going.
approaching, you can
You're not
hear
fitting 20
you
people in that
overhear
little
them
Yeah, she
talking,
didn't
and
say anything about
basically
seeing
they're
them leave, just
talking
seeing
about
them come.
the cold
Sure.
weather because
So
that's
there's
pretty much what
something
everyone
under
in New
there.
York is talking about right now. 'Cause
dinner.
it's honking
Yeah,
cold
you're
out.
right. There probably is something under there.
And so as you
God, I wanna get
walk
into
up,
that
they
place,
kind of
but-
look surprised
What are we
at
gonna do? Like, I can't
three
think.
white folk coming over and butting into their
I'm not
business
locksmith
here.
either.
And
Something
you
we
know
can help you
why,
with.
Like, to you, it's
Hold on,
just a
gentlemen,
moral travesty
Yeah,
to
like,
break
how do we
in
break
here.
into the
Like,
place?
and
You seem like a really nice
like,
guy.
who's gonna do that? It's awful.
We need to speak to Mr. Johnson. And
That's me. What can I do for you, Father?
Well, preference at all. Millie
This is
said
our
we could find you.
first day. I think maybe we
Oh.
should.
And they all kind of relax a little
Maybe
bit.
we should
Do you mind if we
follow
join you?
Silas.
Yeah, we
I
can
would
squeeze in.
I would
Here,
get so
I'm gonna put
loud.
on this-
Designed for
I'm
four,
gonna put on this
so
African
seven
mask
fitting
so
in.
he
It's
doesn't
a little
recognize
tight.
me.
more than a little.
And-
Grab
yeah.
a chair.
Yeah, okay.
I have no self and no shadow in my I don't
Well,
follow
after
this
you
dude.
take a seat, the sandwiches start showing up. And
I have
they look kind
a
of
3 in
surprised.
stealth.
Oh, thank
I mean,
you.
but I don't
And
want
I-
you to get.
no problem.
I don't want you to do it by yourself.
No.
And get murdered.
Reason we're
and
in
get
here
caught.
Aw,
is
thank
that a
you.
good friend of ours recently was murdered.
That's nice.
Your
You
friend
get murdered
is currently
and
in
get
jail.
caught. But Silas,
murderers that
he's
our
crotchety
friend
though, right? He's like this
was part of.
70-year-old.
Right.
I mean,
Who was it?
I
Jackson
mean,
Elias.
he's still only
Wasn't he the one
10
who was
feet
just
away
killed
from the
yesterday?
door by
A
now.
couple of days ago, rather?
Yes.
Sure, Hilton didn't do that.
Well,
maybe we should
as am
follow
I.
him. I mean, we can't break into the shop without
That's why
it
we
looking
need
like
your help.
it was.
All right.
Do you want me to follow him?
What-
I
I,
don't
what
want
can
you
we
to
do? I mean,
die.
I don't
I mean,
either.
not that
Police
I
have
think
been
this guy,
coming down
this
on us.
7-year-old dude
not a
can
whole
do
lot-
anything, but
We're getting threats and we're
listen,
losing our jobs.
I've
Well,
run across a lot of strange things in the last.
there's
few
this place
years,
called the
so
Juju House.
For all I know,
And
Yeah, there
he could be
is.
wearing a
And
skin
before we get
suit.
into that, though,
A what?
Like a
what we
skin
really need is just
Like he's a
reliable
replicant?
people that can
Like
watch it for us.
he's
Now, we're willing to pay some money for that
not
if need be.
human.
It doesn't have to be you.
I thi-
if it's but
I
somebody
think he's
you trust.
human. I did not
We need to know
get
who
the
goes in,
sense that
who
he's
goes
a
out.
daywalker or not human. Did you look at his eyes? His eyes look
Wow,
He's like an old
that's-
dude, but I'm telling you.
We
Maybe
had
he
to
doesn't
keep
even
an
know
eye
what's
on it.
going on. Maybe he's not even.
That's part of
like
what the cops
person
asked
who
us not to
knows.
do.
But there's him and then there's Naquana,
But
right?
you think this can make a
There's
difference?
Two guys that work at this place.
I
No,
certainly
that
hope
is
so. We can
Silas
prove.
Laquani.
If, it,
Oh,
if
that's
we
his
can
last name?
expose
Yeah.
that the cops
Sorry, my bad
at the
notes.
14th are
Covering up
covering up any
and letting a good war hero die.
Should we follow
Is there
him
any-
Vain.
or should we try to get
Is there
him?
any vacant
Maybe we
buildings or
didn't want- maybe the
hotels
keys
near
are-
the place?
Yeah, all over. It's ten.
There's it's tenement
not in
buildings
this
all around,
neighborhood, I
so
would
you
say.
could that little courtyard. is
You don't want to
surrounded
be
by
out on the
tenement
street
buildings,
staring
Right,
at the
that's what I'm
building.
but you could get a tenement
I mean, I
We're-
don't stand a chance trying to pop
apartment
this lock
that
Okay.
without
literally
breaking and entering
overlooks the
solidly.
I'm gonna follow him for a little while.
Okay.
At the
But-
moment,
Not.
they're
I
not
will
putting
be
our friend's
as
death
unintrusive
lumped
as
in
possible.
with the other deaths that happened
If
exactly
you
the
guys
same way that you
wait
were looking into.
5 minutes and
And
then
if we can
follow,
prove
Okay.
and I will.
that the 14th is covering
If
that
I
up,
turn,
and
I
that
will.
the death of our friend happened while Mr. Adams was in jail, who obviously
I
couldn't
don't know.
perpetrate
I'm
it
trying to
himself.
think if I could leave
There
this
is
sign
a judge
for you
in
to.
this city that would condemn a war
I
hero.
mean, if you're
based
gonna
off of that
follow, well,
evidence.
you said in 5 minutes.
Sure
in
is.
5
He's
minutes
a black
come and
man.
follow you,
Actually,
you can
just-
tell.
Not if you got the New
Just-
York Times on your side.
Just stay a
New York
block
Times
behind
already
me.
know the
Okay.
cops are all
And
taken.
be
It's
as-
not that late,
are all
but it is
Yeah, but
winter.
judges love
Take
to
the
be
surprise.
elected.
It's pretty dark.
They'll know that
Maybe
the
we shouldn't.
But this is our only
You got the money to pay
opportunity.
for
There's
this, Father?
We're missing out on so many
course.
opportunities right now.
Wouldn't be approaching you if I didn't.
I wish I had some sort of
We both want the same
small
thing.
device I
We
could
want
fit in my
justice.
pocket where
Think I
I
got
could
a cousin.
call you.
keep an eye on things.
Whatever you need, let me know.
Wouldn't that be?
All
That
right,
sounds
he's gonna
like
need money
science
for the
fiction.
apartment.
Yes, that's
He's gonna
H.G.
need-
Wells at his best.
25
I'm gonna
cents a day.
follow him.
We'll take care of it.
Okay.
I'll pull out a $10 bill.
They all jump.
Here, take this mask.
What do we do with this mask?
That should get it
Oh, you
started,
want
right?
like
How
use
do we
it like
reach you, Father?
follow this guy?
Yeah.
talk
If he
to.
turns around, I will
Alright.
put it on and
Reach
pretend
me.
like
But,
I'm
but
there.
if I
How do we
have
reach
it,
you?
you're gonna be able to
Give me
wear
your
it.
name.
I give him my
I'm not gonna
business-
wear
my
it.
card. So
After
he
the
already sees
death
I'm a private
mask.
investigator. So if you need anything,
You
just
could
let
use,
me
maybe
know.
you could use it for a sled.
You said you
So
already
now when the
talked to Millie?
police beat him
Yes.
up,
But if there's
search his
anything you
body.
can add
they
to
got
that,
my card.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Damn it. Why didn't I think of that?
So you're gonna follow him?
One time,
Okay.
Hilton stumbled across
I'm
somebody
gonna
being
use
attacked.
all 3 points.
No
figured
shit.
out-
I mean, you, like, if I did,
There were
it
two
would just be
people, sometimes more,
every sleep
disappearing at the
ice
same
was
time
just-
every month. So
Around
we
the new
started
moon?
patrolling right around the new moon. So we started sneaking out patrolling, and as he's saying this, all 4 of them, their heads are on swivels. They're looking around to make sure nobody else is listening.
If something happens to me, make sure
Hilton drove
Bast
off one
gets
of those
back to
attackers.
Egypt,
Oh, where
please.
is he? Is he
And
back
they
in
were
his
wearing
apartment?
these
He's
crazy
in
masks.
my hotel.
Where's
And he
your-
managed to
what-
yank this
what
red
hotel were you staying at?
red strip
I'm
of
at
cloth
the
right off of the
Red
forehead,
Hook, Red Roof
part of the
Inn.
mask of one of those
Red
attackers.
Roof Inn. Okay.
He started using it as a bookmark in his notebook where he was taking notes on everything that was happening. It's the only physical evidence we managed to come up with in this whole series of crimes. And cops took that at the same time as they took the journal.
The pawn shop is right next to this.
Hilton said he tracked down a
It's
new lead
closed
at
down.
Juju House.
Yeah, it is.
You're tracking down that
Are they-
same
are the
lead.
buildings
We could
Makes me
connected?
think maybe he's right.
No, but are the buildings
But
connected?
That's possible.
Newspapers don't really
It's
care
on the
about the
same
stories
side.
of police brutality
no
in
one
this
would
part of
notice
town.
if the pawn shop was
Everybody knows it's already
busted
happening.
into.
That's true. We could do that.
So,
Let me follow him.
You
it's
wanna
going to need to
follow
be
him
more than
first,
that.
and then if
There's
that
going to need to
doesn't
be
work,
some awfully
Yeah.
strong
head
evidence
back to the pawn shop. Okay.
before we can move forward on it. But
Dr. Stewart is
I
not
can
going
get
to
somebody
go with
watching.
any of this.
you got that kind of money to back it up.
I do.
Alright. Hope
No.
you follow through, because let me just say, it'd be an awful cruel hardship to raise a woman's hopes like Millie, just to stash them down and abandon her.
I'm going to be talking to Mr. Adams tomorrow. Is there anything you'd like me to convey to him?
Let him know we miss him. You know, we're keeping faith with him, but I don't know what else we can do.
Well, gentlemen, appreciate any help you can give us here. Let us know about anybody going in and out of there. The new moon's coming up this Saturday.
I don't think we can go out and patrol, but if there's something you can do, that's the time to do it.
Do you guys have any questions?
No questions, but
Well, you're all service members, right?
Yeah?
same.
So,
I
ease
show
some
him a
of these
tattoo.
heads.
Kinda.
To ease some of these heads that are looking our way, stand up, be like, it's good to hit, or I'll say it loudly enough.
Yeah.
It's good to see some old boys from the forget
the front.
Yeah, from the front. Non mi patre et file spiritu sanctu. Enjoy.
Alright. And you make your exit?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you guys decide you were doing?
You're in
Mustafa was
charge.
going to follow. What? No, because I don't have shadowing or stealth.
But you're the only one here.
But that's what I was saying. So yeah, right. He's just gonna break into that now. So he was going to. Mustafa was going to try to follow. Was gonna follow Silas.
All 3 of you?
But we
Oh,
don't have
no.
cell phones.
Okay.
He's following him.
True.
I'm
But
gonna
I can
stick
also
about a block behind, but
sort of
within
Help.
sight
Screaming
as best
distance?
as with the screaming distance. Now I don't
sort of
know
like
about
reconnaissance
Stewart because he's got all those
and I have
moral
photography,
principle
so I
pillars,
probably-
so he
I
might
need
not
hard evidence.
want to stalk because he said
All
they
I
thought
gotta
this
do is
guy
take
was a
some
good
pictures
guy and didn't, so I don't know if stalking this dude is really up his alley or if he
You know,
wants to,
people
literally no
coming in
pun
and out of
intended,
there.
if he wants to
The only
accompany
problem is, well,
this
you have this
us
guy.
on our
Actually,
on our endeavor.
Alright.
So I guess it's really up to what Brock wants to do when he comes back.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. Or that's what Margaret's doing. I mean, I'm just sitting here on my laptop taking notes, but
So there are some tasks that my character could potentially be very good at here. So I'm thinking if we need some hard evidence, I might be able to sort of stick around. I have a camera. You know, if we're looking for some police detectives walking in and out of the shop.
what about this? You know cops. Dirty cops, they tend to like money a whole lot. Is it possible to try to find that evidence that we're talking about, this book at least.
I don't know if I can just like go break.
No, you're not going to walk up to the
Precinct.
precinct or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? They're trying to work that angle of it. They're trying to know a guy who knows a guy that could, that, you know, the guy who sits at the evidence desk is not walking the beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least I know one beat.
You know what? I could maybe do that. I could. Like go to some, I don't know how like departments are set up in the 20s, but if there's like a evidence lockup or something, yeah, I might be able to sort of make my way there, right? There's like some rookie cop.
What's your disguise?
Hi.
And that is another option, is to dress up like police and go into the juju place
That's true too.
and just see what they do,
Yeah.
how they react.
Mm-hmm. So between like maybe getting some photographs of some cops going in, and maybe disguising myself as a cop going in.
This is outside
What
of
would that
game terms,
camera
but
be
in
like?
my
It'd be
mind,
like,
right now, it's
like, right?
still Monday.
Yeah.
That gives us
I'm
1,
trying to
2,
think
3,
of
With the
like
big
a
flash.
Right,
Is it
and
Tuesday
then
now?
breaks
It's
the
Tuesday
ball
because
with
Tuesday is when you met with Millie.
No, that was,
Jesus.
no, that was, no, this is still Monday. Because 9 a.m.
Oh no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so this,
You're right. It's
so
still
we have
Monday. My bad.
the new moon
Yeah.
is Saturday.
Yep.
Okay, so that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4 real days before something bad is going to happen. If it,
Legend.
And we have 2 weeks from Saturday before the guy gets executed.
Yeah.
hopefully, and this is just
Well, I'm just
Me
I'm
outside of game
foreshadowing the
here, yeah.
execution is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
well, this is just me out of game. I mean, if something happens on the new moon, something's gonna happen on the new moon again. So we realistically have 1, 2, 3, 4 days to gather some evidence here, and then follow up on it. We all, in my mind, the Juju House is obviously epicenter.
There's still the subway
I don't know that.
exploration.
Were any of the
Yes.
murders on the new moon?
All of them.
What?
All of them.
All of them were on the moon. Like the new moon is the date.
Did everybody
It is
get
when
killed in
people
the
go
movie?
missing and
Okay.
when the murders
I totally
happen.
missed that then.
Yeah.
Well, except for.
Except for Jack.
Okay.
You missed that day of PI school.
So yeah, I mean that's a great option too, right? The subway.
Yeah.
If he is
We
gathering.
could do that any time.
Yeah, if he's gathering the homeless and the vagrant, that's probably where they're living, or were living. Might be a good recruiting place, right? That might be. We could spend some time down there, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Tom, Laura said that Mustafa was planning on tailing Silas.
Yes, I'm gonna spend some stealth points.
He's an expert James Bond.
All right, so give
You
me
got the skills,
I have
right?
a.
He takes off his vest.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
use
he
a
does.
point of
Like Clark Kent.
shadowing and a point of
Who is that?
stealth.
All right, give me those 2 rolls.
Okay.
So tell
I'm
me
gonna
which one
hang
you're
out
rolling
Margaret.
first.
Okay, well, I'm about following
Actually,
him.
stealth should
way
probably
out,
be
because I
the
would
first
just be like,
roll.
Okay, stealth.
I'd be like a Tarrasque in
Spending
a china
point.
shop.
Mm-hmm.
2,
James
All right.
Bond, yeah.
and my
That's okay.
shadowing, a point. 5.
Okay. So you start trying to tail him, and he glances back over in his shoulder and sees you and starts walking toward you.
Oops. Okay. We're still back here.
Where were you heading?
To the subway.
Ah, yes. That's over this way. And
Which
he
way?
points. He points. You want to go down this street, take that right, and then it'll be at the next corner.
Many thanks. Sir.
Of course.
Chad says we should kick Silas and the Jewels, disable him, and then break into a shop.
You what?
That's what the chat says we should do. Kick Silas and the Jewels, disable him, and then break into the shop. Anyway.
There's a chat for this?
Yeah.
How do I get on that?
Without looking back towards where Margaret is, I head
Yeah.
towards the subway.
Okay. Where did your friends go?
They took a cab.
Ah, very
I'm
good.
but a poor merchant. I cannot afford to take
I don't do my
taxis
job
to
very
Manhattan.
well.
They were going to Manhattan.
Oh, I understand. Would you care to join me for dinner?
I would love to.
I have heard that the coffee shop down here is very good.
That would be wonderful.
It's one of my favorite places. He takes you down. You have a meal together. He eats normal food. There is no fat
Does he
sucking involved in the meal.
Does
His
he
mouth
have
doesn't
a-
go.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a bifurcated
No
tongue.
Ouroboros
He does
virus
not have
here.
a bifurcated tongue.
Okay. We will talk about Africa and how
Absolutely.
much we miss it.
So,
Sure.
Dr. Stewart,
While you're doing that, what did the two of you do?
so how would you feel about
Getting abandoned.
breaking into the pawn shop to see if there's a connection from there to the juju shop? I mean, it's already abandoned.
Okay.
Sweet.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we're going to do.
All right. So yeah, you head back to the pawn shop. How are you trying to get in? Are you
Well,
trying
first
to pick
I
the
just
lock?
wanna- I mean, it's not in the best shape, right?
It's
just-
not in the best shape, but the door is locked.
Is there a back door?
So there's one door that's the back door is actually the one that's right next to Juju House. There is a front door on West 138.
Well, probably the back door is what we want to do in the back door. Yeah, let's go to the back door.
All right. So how are you trying to get in?
So it's locked as
It is
well.
locked,
First, just
yeah.
checking to see if
It
it's
is
locked.
not unlocked.
I can't.
Can I kick it?
I can't
Absolutely.
pick locks. I mean, I can't pick locks. I don't think you just pick
What
that
rolls
up.
athletics?
It would be athletics, yeah. There's a locksmith skill.
I know. I don't have it.
5.
Oh yeah, yeah. You give it a solid boot,
Yes.
and you pop the door off of the frame a little bit.
Oops, we'll just put it
Get
back.
it
My
open.
abs just ripple.
I
Just kidding.
mean, it's kind of loud, but
We'll just close the door.
because you just kicked the door hard enough to break the lock.
We'll
But
just go in real quick and shut the door.
Yeah.
sure.
And try to put it back on the edges. It's perfectly normal.
But yeah, you're able to get in. The interior, it's cold, right?
Right.
The building is abandoned. It's not heated. It's January in New York City, and it was cold out already. So it's bitter cold in here, and you see evidence that there have been rats
Sure.
in here recently. But other than that,
No basement, no back way,
no basement. There's the door off of 138th, and you came in the back door, which was at,
And that's just totally empty, huh?
yeah.
No way
But
in, no way down.
you figure if you wanted to watch Juju
It's
House,
okay.
Oh,
it's probably
this would
be a good
place.
location to do it from.
Yeah.
Nice, cool place.
Is there? I
If
mean,
you go steal the rugs from
what's is the
Juju House.
ceiling? Is there like? I mean, it's not drop ceiling, but
It
is
is
there
not a drop
a way to
ceiling.
get over? And there's no basement to this. You said, right?
You do not see any evidence of a basement in here.
Okay.
I'm assuming you didn't, start ripping out wall panels or
No.
pulling up floorboards, so you just gave it a quick look. So
Well,
probably
not
only took
that
about 10
crazy.
minutes, 15 minutes.
Quick search, like an actual search of the room. Like look for anything that could be. Are you cool with that?
No, yeah, I was one of the ones to break in, so.
Yeah.
In the pawn shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. There's a lot of empty glass cabinets and shelves in here. Light switches don't work.
Right.
It's not comfortable by any stretch of the imagination, but you figure you could use it as a base for a stakeout.
Okay.
Huh.
Well,
Okay.
that cha-ching.
This is where you need the time.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was on the other side of the Juju house? The pawn shop, the Juju house.
That
Tenement.
was it, pretty much, and then it was the alley, and then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do whatever you want. Let me know.
Well,
That probably took about half an hour.
okay. So let's just go. I mean,
Actually, we are running out of time, so that's probably a good stopping point. So we got you guys in the pawn shop.
sure, right.
We got you out to dinner with Silas, and we've got
Weird.
the three
Yeah.
of you
Come out of time.
coming out of Teddy's. Yeah.
Teddy,
All
You
right.
did it too. See what
I
that
did
is?
it.
Max hysteria. I know.
Yeah, it's contagious. All right, I think we'll call it a night then. Again, we're
Okay.
playing through Masks, and we are
Actually,
in the New York City chapter.
I kind of really like Silas, so.
It's gonna make you feel bad when you have to murder him.
Right, just like chat.